Hello, everybody. I am having technical difficulties with StreamYard at the moment. It is saying that I am not live. There we go. Oh my goodness. Now I am live. Hi, Auntie M. Oh my gosh. Hey, Auntie M, can you do me a huge favor? Can you post the new link in the Discord and publish it so that everybody can see the new one? Oh my goodness. I don't know what's wrong with StreamYard. That was crazy. Hello, Rocky Lennon. I know I paid the bill. I know I did. So, so it is just, it's just doing its thing, I guess. Yeah, take two for sure. I hope everybody's able to find their way back in here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I know we had a bunch of people in here. Hi, Ava. Honey. See, it's whether it's night shift or day shift, Ava is ready. She just wants her treats. All right, let me get the treat bag real quick. Yeah, so unfortunately, ouch, Ava, aside from technical difficulties, the case is still exporting. But the good news, hey, the good news is, hello, Nana Laura. Yes, the night shift does day shift. Hey, that's all I got. That's all I got, sweet cheeks. I am so sorry. Yeah, it just kept saying that an error occurred. It wasn't going live. I had to like restart it actually multiple times on this side. But then like I could hear it, but I couldn't see anything. It was awful. It was awful. Oh, poor Earl. What's the matter, poor Earl? You're just over there talking. Nobody's even bothering you. You're just talking. Shoot, and my oven is going off. I'm having a heck of a day, man. This is why I don't do day shift. Oh, Earl. You want chat love? Are you just trying to tell me that the oven's going off? Yeah, he's going to lead the way. Oh, man, now I feel terrible. I'm so sorry that I had to send y'all on such a wild goose chase. Hello, Rocky Lennon. Oh, my gosh. I wanted to steal your thunder. Take your trophy. Oh man, Janet, did you make it back in here? We got to get Janet back in here. Oh man, I feel awful. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm gonna throw on TCC.
One with a weapon from 121, where his probation was terminated unsuccessfully. He has an actively violent criminal activity flag. He's 5 on the criminal activity scale, 4 on the
right
scale. And Judge, frankly, he just poses a danger to the community. So for all those reasons, we're asking for a $1 million bond.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, first thing I would say is that a $1 million bond is impossible for anyone to make, and that is just something that we repeat over and over again. There are other mechanisms for the state, to hold incarcerated persons no bond. He is a lifelong resident maintains employment, I would just ask for a reduction in the bond. I realize that the allegations are serious, but they are simply allegations at this point. So I would ask for a bond amount of $500,000.
Mr. Gonzalez, your bond is set at $1 million. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. You're not allowed to have any contact with the family of the victim. No possession of no firearms or weapons. Your preliminary hearing is set July 2nd, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. You are excused. Thank you.
Judge, I'm sorry, could we clarify the family of the victim, and also I believe it was the victim's girlfriend, her name was in the interim complaint. I just want to make sure that she's part of the no contact order as well.
Okay. Let me see. Destiny Dunn. No contact
Yes,
with Destiny
thank
Dunn. Great, thank you. Everyone's excused.
Alvarez?
What is your full name, please?
Alvarez?
Is it Isaiah is your middle name?
Yes.
All right, so it looks like you have two separate felony charges. One case involves unlawful use of means of transportation from yesterday's date. You also have unlawful possession of a dangerous drug from yesterday's date. For both cases, I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you, representing you for this morning's hearing. Sir, the county attorney's office is okay with your release to supervision of pretrial services, their enhanced level of supervision. I am going to follow that recommendation. You must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. You're not allowed to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs, and you cannot be in possession of any illegal drugs while you're on release status. Public Defender's Office is appointed in both cases. Both cases, your preliminary hearing is set July 2nd at 1:30 p.m. And then the case involving the vehicle case, do not have any contact with the victim involved in that matter. You also have warrants for your arrest out of city court on two separate matters. Actually, one is not a warrant, it's a new charge of shoplifting, and in the other case, it's a shoplifting warrant. I'm going to quash the warrants. I'm going to release you on these charges. Do not pick up any new charges, sir. You'll have to appear in city court July 29th at 9 a.m. If you don't appear, warrants will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
I hate when they have prettier hair than me.
Brown?
It's really not fair.
What is your full name, please?
Alexander Brown.
Do you have a middle name?
Yes. This Martin, I guess.
All right, so Mr. Brown, you are charged if you had a felony warrant for your arrest for two separate counts of criminal damage. One was a felony charge of class 6, the other one was a misdemeanor charge. The alleged incident date was in April 25th, 2024. I am going to quash the warrants, enter pleas of not guilty. The state's okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I will follow that recommendation, release you to their supervision. You must comply with any monitored treatment they recommend. You're not allowed to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs while on release status. Do not do not be in possession of any illegal drugs. No contact with the victims involved in this case. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your arraignment date is set for June 28th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you appear in court. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
Cross?
What is your full name, sir?
Muslim Bishop Robert Cross.
Looks like you're wanted out of Pinellas County. It was for a burglary and a second degree charge and a criminal damage charge. I'm gonna enter pleas of not guilty, let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you, representing you for this morning's hearing. Pinal County wants me to hold you on a $2,500 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, I would just note that it doesn't appear that he's been previously arrested in this matter. Pretrial services noted that there might be some mental health issues, and it seems that he is unemployed. I would ask that we release him, have him, figure out what's going on up in now, or if possible, if we could reduce the amount to $1,000.
Mr. Cost, your bond set at $1,000, no contact with the victims involved in the case. The jail's gonna let Pinal County know that you're in custody on their warrant, so they'll come get you. Otherwise, I'll set a review here, July 22nd at 9 a.m. Make sure you're have gone to Pinal County. You also had a misdemeanor warrant for your arrest out of city court for resisting arrest and criminal nuisance charge. This case has been pending since June 25th of 2022. I'm gonna quash the warrant, release you. Your next court date's in city court, July 18th at 9 a.m. I'm actually gonna appoint an attorney to represent you on this matter to help you resolve that charge out of city court. An attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Aníbal Edmundo Gutierrez.
You are charged with an aggravated DUI charge on the inner plea of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the county attorney's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. County attorney, what is your bond recommendation?
Because I'm asking for a $15,000 bond. I'd ask the court to impose conditions of Mr. Gutierrez not drive without a valid license, and no alcohol at all. Judge, I would note he has a parole hold, a DOC hold. He's on parole for DUI. I know the court will consider that, but I'd ask the court to impose some bond because those parole holds can go away. Mr. Gutierrez has multiple prior convictions for DUI, and I just think that poses a danger.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, as the state mentioned, there is that parole DOC hold. He is 67 years old. I'm just asking for a reduction of the state's recommendation to $10,000.
Mr. Gutierrez, your bond is set at $10,000. Public defender's office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set July 2nd at 1:30 p.m. You also have a misdemeanor DUI charge as a result of this case, and having alcohol in a vehicle. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, release you on the misdemeanor charge. July 22nd at 8:30 a.m. is your arraignment date in Justice Court. I'll let Justice Court know that you're currently in custody. You are excused, sir. Thank you.
Judge, I'm sorry, is the misdemeanor DUI charge a result of this?
I believe so, yeah. They double charge, I think.
Can I move to dismiss that, please?
Yes. I'll dismiss that misdemeanor DUI charge. Thank you.
Without prejudice. Please.
Yeah, without
Thank you.
prejudice. Yep.
I was gonna make a joke and say to just let him go because he's got a really nice Sallyport stash, but I cannot even make that joke when it comes to being a DUI. Like, I can't get behind that at all. Like, sir, stop it and quit messing up my jokes. You have a nice mustache, though.
Okay.
I'm glad you were able to join us, Carrie.
Nurse? Nursing?
What is your full name, please?
Yusuf Edhem Hafizovich.
I'm sorry, say your name again?
Yusuf Edhem Hafizovich.
Oh, thank you.
Is that
You are charged with
natural?
2 counts of third-degree burglary and 2 counts of criminal trespass. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, You have a constitutional right to be represented by an attorney. For this morning's hearing, there is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. The county attorney's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I am going to follow that recommendation and release you to their supervision. You must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. While on release status, you're not allowed to drink any alcohol, don't take any illegal drugs, don't have any contact with these different businesses. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set July 12th at 1:30 p.m. Stay in touch with your attorney. You are excused. Thank you.
Oh,
Howard?
I've seen that before, but that was interesting.
What is your full name, please?
Edwin Howard?
Is your middle name Levert?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, looks like you had a fugitive warrant for your arrest. I believe this is out of Colorado for a probation violation. And I am going to quash the warrant and a plea of not guilty. Actually, wait a second. It's out of New Mexico, sorry about that. It's out of McHenry County, Gallup, New Mexico. I'm gonna quash the warrant and let you know that the county attorney's office is asking that you be held without bond and pursuant to the Arizona statute, which states that if you are wanted in another state for a parole or probation violation, you are not entitled to bond. Defense counsel?
Your Honor, I don't have a lot of information here. I would just ask that we set the no bond hearing as quickly as possible, and we will take it from there.
The probation cases don't get a no bond hearing. I am gonna hold him without bond. Legal Defender's Office is appointed to represent him. His fugitive warrant hearing is set for June 27th at 2:30 p.m. And you are excused, Mr. Howard. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
1 second. Hey.
It was 77 in my house, and I turned my AC on.
Hoyt?
'Cause that's like my limit. I'm done there. Oh, she's pretty.
What is your full name, please?
Sealy?
All right, looks like, Mr. Hoyt, you have two separate felony charges, both from yesterday's date. One charge is unlawful use of means of transportation. The other case is unlawful possession of a dangerous drug. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearings. The county attorney's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services, their enhanced level of supervision. I am going to follow that recommendation and release you to the supervision of pretrial services, their enhanced level of supervision. You must comply with any monitored treatment they recommend. You are not allowed to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs while on release status. The vehicle case, you're not allowed to have any contact with the true owner of that vehicle. In both cases, the legal defender's office is appointed to represent you. In both cases, your preliminary hearing is set July 12th at 1:30 p.m. It's very important that you stay in touch with your attorney. You also have some misdemeanor matters where you had warrants for your arrest out of city court on 3 separate cases, all 3 involving shoplifting charges. Ma'am, these cases will never go away until you appear in city court to resolve them. You're entitled to take a plea, well, I don't know if they'll offer a plea, but usually people can resolve their cases with a plea, or you can set your cases up for trial. You have to appear in city court July 18th at 1:30 p.m. If you don't appear, more warrants will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
Martinez?
What is your full name, please?
Brandon Robert Anthony Martinez.
All right. Looks like you're charged with unlawful possession of narcotic drug. misconduct involving a weapon, along possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm gonna enter pleas of not guilty. And let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. The county attorney's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I will release you to their supervision. You must comply with any amount of treatment they recommend. Sir, you're not allowed to possess any firearms or weapons. Do not drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set July 12th at 1:30 p.m. Stay in touch with your attorney. You are excused. Thank you.
Morales?
That's funny.
What is your full name, please?
Gwendolyn Rose Morales?
Ms. Morales, you have new charges of unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, and you also had a warrant case for unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. That warrant case was from September 14, 2023. In both cases, I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, quash that warrant, to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney, and to there is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. For the, let's see, the county attorney's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I want to let you know I was going to hold you on a small bond. You have several felony prior convictions, but you know, with pretrial services, you must comply with any monitoring treatment they recommend. On the drug case, your first hearing is a smart hearing on July 1st at 9 a.m. And for both cases, your preliminary hearings are set for July 12th at 1:30 p.m. In both cases, the public defender's office is appointed to represent you. Make sure you're staying in touch with your attorney, so that you know what's happening in your case and you're making your court appearances. Hold on a second. For the dangerous drug case, actually, the warrant case, your arraignment date is set for June 28th at 1:30 p.m. You must be present in court for that date. If not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You also had an Oro Valley case. It looks like it was for a warrant for your arrest for a DUI. I'm going to release you. Your next court date is Sarita, July 24th at 10:30 a.m. Make sure you appear. If not, another warrant's going to issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
They look like pure attitude. You're kind of scaring me.
You're excused. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just filling out a card for her and I wanted to share something regarding SMART.
Your Honor, good morning. May the Spanish interpreter be excused?
Jail, is there any Spanish interpreters?
No Spanish speakers.
All right, thank you. Yes, the Spanish interpreters excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
She got that.
Yes, okay, thank you.
She got that RBF down real good.
Para.
What is your full name, sir?
Everybody,
You had a warrant for your arrest for unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. Mr. Potter, I was going to set a bond in your case. You've got to make sure you're staying in touch with pretrial services and making your court dates. It's a very serious matter.
yes, ma'am.
The county attorney's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services, so I'm going to follow that recommendation and release you to their supervision. You must comply with any monitoring that they recommend. You're not allowed to drink any alcohol, do not take any illegal drugs, and do not be in possession of any illegal drugs. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your arraignment date is set for June 28th at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you appear in court. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's because no one was asking her to dance.
So, go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Our case is
Oh.
at
Right here?
88%.
No, just show up, okay? Okay.
You be there?
No, I'm a attorney.
Powell,
What is your full name, please?
Cindy Michelle Powell Bruce.
Let's see. All right, you had. Charges involving unlawful possession of a dangerous drug for sale, unlawful possession of narcotic drug for sale, 2 counts of criminal damage, unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you, representing you for this morning's hearing. You do have a probation hold on you. County Attorney, what is your bond recommendation?
I'm recommending a $50,000 bond. Ms. Perez fled from officers at high rates of speed, crashed into multiple cars, including police cars. When found, she had almost 500 grams, which is a very high amount. The threshold for sales in the state of Arizona is 9 grams. She had almost 500 grams of meth in the car, as well as fentanyl, and a high amount of currency. So clearly both sales are going on here. She's a 3 on the new criminal activity scale, a 5 on the failure to appear scale. She got prior felony convictions and she's on felony probation. So I understand there is a probation hold, but I've asked the court to set bond appropriate for the facts of this case. I'm asking for $50,000.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, I want to acknowledge the probation hold and her age. She is quite young. I would ask for a lower amount, in the amount of $25,000.
Ms. Perez, your bond is set at $50,000. You're not allowed to have any contact with any victims, possess no firearms or weapons. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set to July 2nd at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. Can you bring back Dylan Howard? I forgot to arraign him on a misdemeanor matter. Sorry about that. Whenever you get a chance.
I was not expecting her to be a mule.
Whenever you get a chance. Thank you.
I was thinking like, I was honestly expecting that, she had a alcohol related offense or, maybe even assault on a LEO because, getting cocky with her friends or something. Was not expecting mule. Wow.
Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Howard, you had also your name is Dylan Howard, is that correct for the record?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you had a domestic violence unlawful imprisonment charge. It's a misdemeanor charge. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. I am going to release you on this matter. I'm going to appoint a city public defender to represent you on this matter. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victim involved in the case. Your next hearing date is going to be August 6, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Your city public defender will be in touch with you to explain to you what's happening. You're excused. Thank you.
Jennifer,
What is your full name, please?
Jennifer Marie Musashi.
You are charged with 2 counts of custodial interference and unlawful possession of narcotic drug. I'm going to enter pleas as not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for today's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding your bond recommendation. County Attorney?
Judge, I understand pretrial services is recommending her release, but I'm asking for a $25,000 bond plus their supervision if that bond is posted. My concern here is twofold. First, she lied to the police and said that the children were not in the house. And only after Mesa PD got on the phone with her and convinced them to come out, I guess the kids came out. They were runaways and she's shielding them. My concern is she's not only shielding these kids, but also has fentanyl in her house. And I don't know if that was accessible to the kids, but that's a concern to the state. She has multiple prior felony convictions, including child abuse related convictions from 2012, domestic violence disorderly conduct with a weapon from 2016, and multiple drug convictions since then. She's got multiple city court warrants and a history of failing to appear for court. So I would ask that she have no contact with the children in any way, and that the court hold her on a $25,000 bond.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, I'm asking the court to follow the recommendation of pretrial services. She is a lifelong resident and maintains employment. I understand the allegations, but it does appear that his children were unharmed and perhaps were even there willingly. I'm not saying that that's necessarily makes the charges right or defensible, but I just wanted to state that. If the court is not inclined to release her to pretrial services, I would just ask for a significant reduction in the bond to the amount of $10,000.
Mr. Versace, your bond is there at $10,000. You're not allowed to have any contact with your child and the other child. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set to July 2nd at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. You also had a misdemeanor case out of city court for 2 separate cases, both involving same charges, assault and disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, quash the warrant, release you on the misdemeanor cases only. Your next court date in Tucson City Courts, July 23rd, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. And I'll appoint a city public defender to help you try to resolve your misdemeanor charges. And I'll let the city public defender's office know that you are in custody. You are excused. Thank you.
Keep her in custody. Yeah, keep that one in custody. I don't like that one. Housing runaways with fentanyl in the home. No. Yeah, they were unharmed. Physically, you're allowing them to run away from their homes and from their parents.
What is your
Exposing
full
them.
name, sir?
No.
Sterling Washington,
What is your middle name?
Armand,
You're charged with 1 count of a classic felony shoplifting charge and the enter plea of not guilty. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. The state's okay with your release of supervision of pretrial services. I'm going to release you to their enhanced level of supervision. You must comply with any monitoring treatment they recommend. You are not allowed to drink any alcohol, take any illegal drugs. Don't go back to that store location. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for July 12th at 1:30 p.m. And make sure you stay in touch with your attorney. You also had misdemeanor charges out of city court. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases in warrant status, all involving drug paraphernalia charges. I'm going to quash the warrants. Sir, these cases in city court will never go away until you appear in court to resolve them. I'm going to release you on the city court cases. Your next court date is set for July 26th at 9:30 a.m. And when you appear in court, you can get your cases resolved or you can set your cases up for trial. You're excused. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. What is your full name, please?
Eduardo Alberto White.
You're, looks like you're wanted in Birmingham City on a fugitive warrant out of New York. I am going to quash the warrant, and they're asking that establish the bond amount. Want to let you know that you do have the right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney on this extradition matter. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this morning's hearing. County Attorney, you're asking, what's your recommendation?
Judge, I'm asking for a $50,000 bond, and as the court is aware, we just don't have a lot of information on the charges in New York. What we do know is Mr. White's wanted out of New York, that he's a known fugitive, that he has multiple prior felony convictions, all from New York. The nature of the bond recommendation is simply that he's very far away from what he's wanted across the country. And yeah, we don't have a lot of information, so I'd ask for a $50,000 bond.
Defense counsel?
Your Honor, given that we don't have a lot of information, I can share what I know from speaking with Mr. White. He is currently staying with his partner who lives here, and that was noted in pretrial's report. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Let me correct myself. He is staying with his partner, but they are here on vacation. They live in New York. His partner can provide support. They had intentions to actually go back to New York. So I would ask that he be released so we can take care of this matter when he gets home. If the court is inclined to set a bond and a review hearing, I would ask that it just be a much lower amount, in the amount of like $5,000.
Mr. White, your bond set at $5,000. Legal Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your fugitive warrant hearing is set for June 27th at 2:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you. Thank you for your excuse. And everyone's excused.
Oh my gosh, that timing could not have been more perfect. That worked out quite well. We got to see the whole Arizona docket before it got, it didn't get taken down. Normally they take those down like real quick. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes sneaky on the weekends. But I try to get them as much as I can. They're my guilty pleasure docket. Like, not a lot often happens there, but I still love seeing it. Abby, are you all caught up? Hello, sweetie. No longer on 2X, I hope, right? Right? Because we're going to start the fun right now.
We're now live streaming on YouTube. This is just Dulce Madrigal. I'm hearing cases in Comal County by Zoom today on April 19th, 2024. At this time, I will call cause number C-2023-0612B. Present in my virtual courtroom are both parents. I have the non-custodial parent, Jacob Pistoshka. Sir, if you could go ahead and identify yourself with your full legal name. You can stay unmuted.
Jacob Pistoshka.
Thank you. And then I've got the custodial parents, Sarah Danielle McIntyre. If you would announce yourself as well, ma'am.
Sarah Danielle McIntyre.
And just for the record, Ms. McIntyre, I can't see Mr. Pistoshka on his screen, but he's got the video on. There's something wrong with the camera. You know that that's him there and you have identified his voice?
Believe so.
Okay, thank you. Now, both of you, I need you to raise your right hands and tell me when your right hand is raised since I can't see it, sir.
What's up?
Thank you. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Starting with you, sir.
I swear.
Thank you. And ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in a minute, the state's going to get involved, but right now, let me tell you a couple of things before we get started. One is that I'm not a district court judge or the court reporter. I'm actually an associate judge. I've been appointed to hear cases filed by the Attorney General's Office Child Support Unit. They don't give us court reporters. We have a digital recorder, so be aware of that. That's the official record. Make sure all your answers are verbal, loud enough for the recorder to pick up and the court to hear. No shaking your head or nodding when you're answering questions because that doesn't record. And I need formal yeses and nos, no ahas or ahs. Okay, then we're gonna get started. Just so you also aware, here on the Zoom platform, there's two more people in this my virtual courtroom. They're not on video. They happen to be staff at the Attorney General's Office or my court coordinator. They're allowed in the courtroom and they'll be present the whole time, but they won't be participating. And I did mention that at 10:30, I have another block of cases coming in. So if I have to stop to let that happen, I might take a brief pause to get some other business going on the same. I have to do everything in this one courtroom. Excuse me. The other part of it is the state's going to call you as witnesses. They'll call you one at a time. Whoever they start with, they get to decide. The other person that's not testifying, I'm going to ask you to please remain silent. Don't interrupt. You get your full turn to talk as well, but don't interrupt unless you have a legal objection. It goes smoother that way. I'll stop you if you're both talking because the record will be garbled and I won't be able to hear you. Ms. Coates, you want to go ahead and announce and give me an opening statement at this time?
Yes, Judge. Deandra Coates for the Attorney General. We are coming back on temporary orders, which you issued back in December 8th, 2023. At this time, all the terms are pretty much agreed to for the parties, except for visitation. So I will walk through what, I don't know if you need me to walk through it, if you remember, Judge, but I can. So
I hear too many cases, but you're telling me I had a contested hearing in December.
yes, Judge. And so we were
Okay.
basically coming back to see how the visits were going. The visits
Okay.
were a point of contention at the time as well.
Okay, yeah, once you start talking, I might start remembering some bits and pieces, but because I see so many cases, obviously I don't want to pretend I know something I don't. So we'll start from scratch. So
Yeah.
Go ahead and if you want to either make further statements or call witnesses, however you want to handle it.
Okay. So, Judge, you did order that the parties were going to be joint managing conservators. Ms. McIntyre was the primary, and there would be a geographic restriction to Comal and the contiguous counties. You did order that there would be standard possession orders, but there was a little modification. Jacob was to pick up the child from the daycare Friday, so at the end of whatever time daycare ends, and he was to return the child to daycare on Monday morning, and that was at the daycare called Little Wishes Big Dreams Daycare. You also ordered the parties to both download the app called App Close. They were supposed to communicate there. There was a finding of a gross monthly income of $3,466.67. 9% of that was $312. There was only one child before this court, no other children. Jacob was supposed to carry health insurance through another source at $35 a month. Oh, this was going to be another issue. I do apologize, Judge. And then there was no dental available. Then the
Who
net
carried the
resource-
insurance, the mother or the father? I didn't hear that part.
Dad, through
Dad.
another source. Yeah. Net resource $2,907.30. 20% was applied. And so that brings us with the child support of $581. You ordered no retroactive. And so today, oh, and a non-disclosure finding for Miss McIntyre. And so at this time, the issue is that Miss McIntyre has not received the health insurance from Jacob. And so she asked that this time it just be ordered that she carries it through government since she's having a hard time. Additionally, she's going to testify that he hasn't been using the app called App Close. He's not following the orders. However, he's going to testify that his phone doesn't work for that, or his phone is a lower grade, so
outdated.
download it. And then the issue is that Miss McIntyre doesn't believe the visits are working. She has issues with the fact that he's not the one watching the child, it's that his mother is. And so at this time, she wants to perhaps do less visits and do maybe once a month visits, and then every weekend he could have electronic communication. Jacob would like to keep the visits as is. So that's where we're at this time.
Or 50-50.
And that was his request last time, Your Honor. That's why we had a contested issue, was he wanted 50-50, and Ms. McIntyre testified that that wasn't a good idea. And so also at the last hearing, it was established that he lives in San Antonio and she lives in Canyon Lake.
Canyon Lake, okay.
Yes. And so,
Majority did come back, but not all of it. Okay, I remember the terms. I don't remember the full names or that aspect of it. Okay, well, let's just get started and see where we get.
yes, Judge. All right. I will call Ms. McIntyre. Ms. McIntyre?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, first things first, Judge did order Jacob to carry health insurance. Has he turned over those cards to you?
Nope.
And so how have you been taking care of your son's visits if he has to go to the doctor or anything like that?
Out of my own pocket.
Okay. He doesn't have health insurance?
His Medicaid was ended, I believe, in November, December. Jacob asked me to get a decline letter or whatever for his insurance. So I went ahead and took him off of the government insurance. So now he has no insurance because I was depending on his father to get it for him.
Okay. Do you know if you still qualify? So if Judge were to order you to go apply, do you know if you would get it?
I believe I qualify. I've gotten a promotion at work, so I'm making more money. So I don't know if I fit the tax bracket, but I should.
Okay. And you don't know how much the health insurance would cost you through your employer?
No, ma'am. I don't believe I can get health insurance through my employer.
Okay. Is it because you're because you just got promoted and you have to wait, or is it too costly?
I don't believe they offer it. I really don't.
Okay. And then next, communication. What has been going on with that?
He refuses to speak with me. So it kind of falls back on my mom. Sometimes he doesn't answer my mom. He ignores her. There's just really no communication. He refuses to download the app. He refuses to unblock me. All that good stuff. So.
And how do you know he hasn't downloaded the app? Have you like invited him and he hasn't responded, or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And and when you mean blocked, is your phone number blocked? Is it
Yes.
Facebook you're blocked on?
I'm blocked on well, I don't know if he has social media or anything, but I'm blocked on the social media that I know he does have. I'm blocked on the phone number. If there's an emergency, there's no way for me to really get a hold of him. So.
Okay. And so in the few times you're able to get a hold of him is through your mom. Your mom has to facilitate conversations.
Which she's getting really tired of. So yes.
Okay. And you did send me some screenshots. Are those screenshots from your mom's phone?
Mm-hmm. From my mom.
Okay. And how are the visits going since you guys are having a hard time communicating?
It kind of seems like he's just picking and choosing when he picks him up, and when he drops him off, he doesn't stick to the Thursday to Monday schedule. It's kind of whenever he wants him and whenever he doesn't. His mom has been telling my mom that she's actually been watching him. So there's that. My son personally screams and cries and kicks, and he doesn't want to go over there. So I don't know what's going on with that.
And then I remember you had an issue with his mother, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was that issue?
She drinks too much with my son, to the point where she probably doesn't even know her first name. So it's just not someone I want watching my child. I've brought that up last time in court, I believe.
And then the exchanges were supposed to happen at the daycare. He picks him up and drops him off at the daycare. How's that going?
We recently moved his daycare from San Antonio to Canyon Lake because it was just too out of the way for me. And he does not pick up his child. His mom does. So she's not really picking him up at the daycare. She's like trying to see if my mom will meet her somewhere or whatever the case may be.
And has he missed any of his visits?
Yes.
Okay. What visit did he miss? Do you remember?
I believe there was one in January. And then a couple in February were cut short. Like he saw him maybe 2 days. And then I believe in March, he only saw him 6 days out of the month. So It's been
And,
inconsistent every month.
okay. And have you had to go pick up your child from daycare when he's supposed to get him?
Yeah, there's been a couple days, like Thursdays he won't get him, or Fridays he won't get him. He'll get him Saturday from my mom, so I have to go out of my way to get my son on my days, or on the days that aren't mine.
And does he tell you in advance or tell your mother in advance?
Couple hours in advance. Kind of just thrown on us.
And has the daycare had to call you like, hey, nobody's picked him up or anything like that?
Yes, there was an incident in January, where it was his day to see him, or it was his day to pick him up. No one picked him up. I got a call at 6:30 saying my child had not been picked up yet.
And what time does the daycare close?
6.
Okay. All right. And then, so he's been kind of doing some overnights. How are those going to your knowledge? You know, do you have any concerns about Jacob and your son together?
Well, he's not really doing overnights with his dad. He's doing overnights with his grandma. His dad's out at bars drinking and fighting. And I also sent you a video of him fighting at the bar 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So the video was, you didn't send me the video 2 weeks ago. The video was taken 2 weeks ago.
Taken 2 weeks ago. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how did you get that video?
Through some mutual friends.
And that video, was it taken on a night where it was Jacob's night to have your son?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, do you know who was watching your son at that time?
His mom.
And
there was also an
Jacob...
incident. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
There was an incident about a month ago where he also had my child, and he was out drinking on St. Mary's Street when my kid was at home alone. The police detained him. He was in the back of a police car for jumping people down on St. Mary's Street while my kid was at home sleeping. So
how did you find out he was alone?
He wasn't. No. He was with his grandma. He wasn't alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you wanted me to share this video with the judge, is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, Judge.
Go ahead. Stop. Sit.
And unfortunately, Jacob can't see this video. So, but Judge, can you see the video?
I can right now.
Okay, it's paused.
It's still right. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have it paused, Judge. And Sarah, can you tell us what he's wearing in this video or what we should be looking for?
He's wearing a white shirt. At the end of the video, he's covered in the other man's blood. So.
Okay. All right, Judge. Let me.
Is Mr. Pistachki still here, correct?
Oh, I'm loving this. This is I don't know where she got this.
Okay.
All right. Trying to move some stuff around. Sorry, guys. Okay, that wasn't Mr.
No, not right there. It's at the end of the video.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's not him on the floor.
That's Jacob right there.
Okay, this gentleman in the white shirt covered in blood. There's a bald gentleman with like a greenish shirt kind of pushing him back.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Who was the person on the floor earlier, Miss McIntyre?
That was the man that he had just beat up.
Is that the man with the bald head right now, or so there's another?
No, it was a different bald man. I believe he's like African American, not white.
And whose voice is it that's on the video? I don't.
Jacob is screaming in the back, "Who wants it? Who wants it?" So if that's what you're hearing, that's Jacob.
Well, it sounded more like a child's voice. I'm not sure.
Oh, the girl that is a mutual friend that sent me the video.
No, she's hearing, I want apple juice. I want apple juice.
But the video has audio on it that I missed all of it. That was bar
It should.
reviews or music, or I didn't hear any of that. But
It
Okay.
should have
I can
audio.
send it to you, Judge. I don't know how
No,
to share
it needs to
audio.
be in shared and for Mr. Pistachki to also see it and that I don't see a separate version. Yeah.
Well, there's audio to this, Judge, but I don't know how to share the audio if it's not playing the
Okay.
audio.
Is that the issue? Well, I'm like, I don't hear bar noises, but I didn't know why. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, yeah. No, I don't. I'm sorry, Judge. I don't know how to share the audio.
Oh, don't ask me. I wouldn't be able to help you with that. Okay. Mr. Pistaksha, are you debating or denying that that was
not
you in
me
the white
entirely.
t-shirt?
100% not me. And I have no idea where that video came from. And second of all, is there even a timestamp? So she said that that's on my day. Even if that is me, is that, how do you know that's even on the day that I had him?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if it was you or not.
That is entirely not me. I don't even go to bars. I work out of town in Midland.
I don't think lying's gonna get you anywhere.
Well, can't see what he looks like. I don't remember what he looks like from December. I could barely
Right.
see the video and I saw a face kind of, but I wouldn't know if it resembles Mr. Pistaska or not, Ms. McIntyre. How do you know it's him, or why do you say, if you say it's not, it is, and he says it's not, how am I supposed to know what to believe?
I spent 8 years of my life with him. I know his face. And then also, if you pause the video at the end, you get a very clear picture of his face. There's no way of denying, there's no way like he can deny that it's not him. If you were to pull up his ID photo and put it next to the screenshot at the end of the video, you would very clearly see that it's him, unless he
Well,
has
I
a twin
can't
brother.
do any of that. I don't have the electronic capabilities to do that.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out with the he said, she said, how I know who's telling me the truth if he says it's
It's
not
him.
him. And you weren't there, ma'am?
No. All of my friends were though.
And the friend that took this photo or this video, was she available?
Yeah. Of course.
Like right now?
I can text her and see. She might be asleep.
Okay. And why do you say it's not you, sir?
Because I don't live here in San Antonio. You said that was a bar in San Antonio. I work in Midland.
If you don't live in San Antonio, how do you have my child?
I've come back to see him. I'm not here to debate or argue with her. I don't even really want to speak to her. I'm here to get
No,
this
I
case.
don't want y'all to speak to each other. I'm just trying to figure out.
I don't want to speak to her at
It's
all.
either you or it's not, and I can't tell, Mr. Patoshki. I can't see your face right now, and I maybe not.
Sorry, ma'am, but that is 100% entirely not me.
Do you know what bar it was, Ms. McIntyre?
Yes, ma'am. It was the Slackers off of Pear and Vital.
Is that a bar you frequent, Mr. Patoshki?
Never heard of that in my life.
He was there every weekend.
Okay.
I have screenshots of him there on other occasions.
Okay, I'm gonna stop y'all. I have a really hard time. You expect me to believe it, and you expect me not to believe it. I may reset this and y'all bring witnesses as far as the video and if somebody was in there to observe him. And sir, I don't know what to tell you how you prove a negative, but and maybe you could borrow a camera or something, borrow a device that has a camera, a cell phone for an hour or two to come to court on Zoom. Because obviously it's ridiculous if I try to figure out if it's you and I don't even know what you look like.
Agreed.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe Miss McIntyre has photos, or we could recess and I can have one of my child support officers take a look at the DMV photos. That is part of their job. They are to look at photos in order to get parties served. I can have them look at, what they use and then look at the video and have them testify if that helps, Your Honor.
Maybe not. Ms. McIntyre, do you know exactly what day and time that was taken? So you didn't take the video. And don't make anything up. If you don't know, you don't know.
It was a Saturday. I don't know the exact date.
Well, it matters because if he has an alibi of some kind or has a witness for an alibi, that would be a whole different story.
I'd have to ask her.
I don't think we're ready, and I'm not ready for the state to try to make the case if we don't even know what day that was on and what time that was on, so that he can defend whether he was there or not.
I can go back and look at the video. Let me see.
What was the name of the bar again, ma'am?
Slackers.
Slackers?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know exactly where it is? You had an address for it? Don't tell me what it is, but I don't care, but you know the location.
Yeah, I do.
And that's in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
And your friend was there taking the video in person herself? She didn't get it from
Yeah.
somebody else?
No, ma'am. Herself.
She would remember the day and time, I would hope, or the video?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then let me either at least recess and the next 10, 15 minutes, if you can, either of you can think of anything you can bring today that would help, or I'm just gonna reset it for better testimony or witnesses. Because
Okay.
I'm gonna buy into the he said, she said, it's me, it's not me. I can't do that. I don't know who's
Can
telling
I
you.
send you pictures of him, like actually, and you can compare it?
Well, yes and no, but I don't know what he looks like. He's not on camera right now, and he can't get on camera right now. Is there some reason you can't borrow something, some other device and log back in right now, Mr. Patascha? You're muted, sir. I can't hear you if you're talking.
No, ma'am.
You cannot borrow another device right now.
No, I don't have any other devices, ma'am. Sorry.
Any other device then on another day that maybe you have time to explore options or have somebody close to loan you
Yeah,
something?
I could get my work phone, but today I have the day off. I'm with my son. I wanted to spend time with him, or he would be at daycare.
So you don't have an iPad or
No, I don't have the luxury of that life.
well, calling in won't do me any good either because I can't see you on the phone. So you need to have a Zoom capability on some kind of device. You can do that if I reset you and get your work phone.
My work phone's at work.
Will they
I'm at-
let you use the phone for court purposes?
I'm sorry, but my job is an hour away, so I'm not sure that's going to be any good for us today.
No, but if you were at your place of business.
Oh yeah, of course.
They'll let you use it and you won't get in trouble or get fired over it.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I could use it.
What about, would you be out to use it? You have to be working and you have to take time off while you're there and that'll be allowed?
Not allowed, but I mean,
But you,
closed mouth don't get fed. I could ask.
Judge, can he send Ms. Coates a picture of himself? He doesn't have to have a device for that. I'm sure there's a selfie on his phone.
you have that, Mr.
Not on this phone, I do not.
I have pictures of me, him, and my son together, if that would help.
Okay, let's just recess. I'm gonna take a break and let you all sort it out. I'm not gonna send you away yet, but
Okay.
I'm having trouble figuring out if it's him or it's not him. That's the bulk of it right now.
Regardless if it is me or not, you still need a timestamp to prove that it was my day. What I do on my free time is none of anybody's business.
Not even getting in fights at bars and
I hate to say this, but I don't like going to bars in the first place, and I work out of town. I don't have time to be doing that with people, and I don't like missing time with my son. And the only reason why I've been missing time with my son is because she keeps moving his daycare further and further away. This is his fourth daycare since we've had the
It's
temporary
his
order.
third. It's his
okay,
third.
I haven't
Okay,
talked to both of you yet beyond this initial phase here, and I know you have a whole nother story. I need to hear it.
Well,
But
y'all are busy
now's
trying to
not the
identify
time. I'm
some.
trying to identify you in a video first of all and see who's telling the truth or not. I've just stopped. I'm just gonna recess now, Ms. Coates. So I'm gonna pause my recorder and go off record. It could take a while, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the live stream as well and take care of other business as they come in. And maybe probably about 10:40, 10:45-ish, we can return to this case, Ms. Coates, after you all have assigned people to the break rooms. Let's do that. Okay, y'all don't hang up. You're gonna be put in another room and we'll go from there. And I'll pause my recorder. Yes, Ms. Gonzalez, or somebody who's talking, Ms. Coates?
That was me. Did you want me to give him my email so he can send a photo of himself, or what exactly are you?
Whatever you can figure out to help me
Okay.
while we're still here. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll reset it. That's all I can say. I let y'all break your heads trying to figure it out because right now I don't know who's got what and who can prove what. Okay.
Okay.
The live stream at this point. And we're almost.
Apparently, when they came back, if they came back on live stream, I didn't catch if there was a second hearing or not. That courtroom, they take everything down immediately, so you got to be like on the jump for it. I was actually really shocked that I had the first hearing, but apparently it didn't go very well because here they are, reset, and the first hearing was in April. This one just occurred yesterday.
There. We are now live streaming on YouTube. This is Judge Dulce Madrigal. I'm hearing cases out of Comal County today by Zoom on Friday, June 21st, 2024. At this time, I will call cause number C 2023-0612B. Present in my virtual courtroom are both parents. That would be the non-custodial parent, Jacob Pistakashi, and the custodial parent, Sarah Danielle McIntyre. Let me start with you, sir. Go ahead and unmute and announce yourself with your full legal name. I can't see you, but I know you're in the screen with your name identifying it. You need to unmute before I can hear you.
Jacob Pistakashi.
Okay, you're a little garbled. I'm not sure we're gonna have trouble or not, but I heard you try to announce your name. Let me go next to Miss Sarah Danielle McIntyre, the custodial parent. You announce yourself, ma'am.
Sarah McIntyre.
Your full name?
Sarah Danielle McIntyre.
Thank you. Now, today I did ask you to bring witnesses, and you have. I believe, Mr. Pistakashi, you brought your mom, Nancy Morin. Miss Nancy Morin, go ahead, identify yourself.
Nancy Morin.
And you are the paternal grandmother, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Of the child or children? Thank you. And
Yes,
then Sarah, McIntyre, you brought your mom, the maternal grandmother, Miss Shannon Weil. Go ahead and announce yourself, ma'am.
I'm Shannon Lee Weil.
Thank you. And then there's another witness. It appears to be Sarah's friend, Sarah McIntyre's friend, Miss Alyssa Flores. Go ahead and announce your name, ma'am.
Alyssa Flores.
Thank you. Now I need to swear everybody in. All of those of you that have announced, raise your right hands for me. And Mr. Pistakashi, you got to unmute, and I got to hear that your hand is raised since I can't actually see it.
My hand is raised.
Thank you. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, one at a time, starting with you, sir? Jacob?
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah?
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah's friend, Miss
Yes,
Flores? Yes, go ahead, say it again.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And then the paternal grandmother, Miss Morin?
Yes, ma'am.
And the maternal grandmother, Ms. Weil?
Yes.
Thank you. Everybody's sworn in. Now,
The defendant's mom doesn't like to be on camera either.
you are here as witnesses, Ms. Flores, Ms. Weil, and Ms. Morin. You've been brought in the courtroom so I can swear you in. Now we've been identified as actual potential witnesses. However, there's some rules to that. I'm going to invoke the rule, which is known in court. And when I invoke it, it means that you all can no longer, under oath here, go out and talk to each other. You're not going to be able to stay in the courtroom to listen to testimony. You're not allowed to log into YouTube to watch that way. It'd be considered a violation of the rule. You have to not talk to anybody and except the lawyers in this case, and the lawyer, Ms. Coates, is in here talking to me, so you can't really talk to anybody, including your child, the grandmothers, or your friend, the witness. So I'm gonna excuse you in a minute. You're gonna be put in the break room or the waiting room to wait your turn. And then when you're called as a witness, you'll be brought in, but it's gonna be without the benefit of hearing the parents' testimony, because that's the way it works. I don't want you coordinating your testimony. That is a violation of the rule. And don't talk to anybody about this case till you come in to testify. And after that, you'll be released. Okay, before I let everybody go, Ms. Coates, go ahead and identify yourself. And you're gonna, you tell me your audio works better with your video off. I'm gonna allow that. I know what you look like. I don't care about your mannerisms and stuff. So Ms. Coates, if you'd go forward and give me an announcement, and then tell me which witness you want, if it's any of the ones that have been placed under the rule.
Yes, Judge. Deandra Coates for the Attorney General. As your Honor stated, since there are multiple people on this Zoom, it is affecting my audio, so I turned off my camera. The state is going to call Miss Weil. Again, we're only here about the visitation portion, Your Honor.
Okay, well, actually, is that the whole of your opening statement?
I didn't know if you wanted me to give an opening with all the witnesses.
Well, you're right, but if I'm gonna leave a witness here, then I need them all here or all out. So you still need to give a rest of an opening statement. Is that right, Ms. Coates?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, then Ms. Zelia Gonzalez, I think I'm gonna be relying on you today. Do you mind going ahead and putting the witnesses in the waiting room?
Doing it now, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. And wait patiently, please, till you're called back here.
Well, you put Sarah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had put Sarah's
These
stuff.
screens keep jumping around. I understand the problem.
All right, Judge. All the witnesses are now in the waiting room.
Great. Okay, and just so that Ms. McIntyre and Mr. Pistakashi know, the two Ms. Gonzalez's, either staff of the Attorney General's office or my court coordinator, they'll be allowed here during the duration of the hearing, but they won't be participating other than helping me or support. Okay, Ms. Coates, let's go forward with the opening statement before you call your first witness.
Yes, Judge. So, Your Honor, today we are here solely on the issue of visitation. Previously, the parties were in agreement to all the other terms, which I recitated on the record and on Zoom on the other Zoom ID. But I'll restate them for the parties.
Okay, for the record too, that would be fine.
Yes. So joint managing conservators, geographic restriction to Comal and the contiguous counties.
With mother the primary?
Mother was primary, yes.
Okay.
Standard possession visits, exchanges at the daycare. App close was ordered based on, there was, again, I can't remember what the testimony was back in 2023 of December. But there is some findings that there was harassment or maybe physical violence between the two parties. And so you granted a non-disclosure for Ms. McIntyre and ordered that the parties communicate on app close. He was to carry the medical insurance, which was costing him $35. At the last setting, Your Honor, he had not turned over the medical card to Ms. McIntyre. You put that on the reset for one of the few requirements was that he was supposed to turn that over to her by May 31st, along with a list of witnesses or any evidence he wanted to bring forward today. Same with Ms. McIntyre, turnover witness list, evidence. So he still has not turned over the health insurance card to Ms. McIntyre, which she can testify to. But it's costing him $35. No dental support. Child support was set at $581. No retroactive. Again, non-disclosure granted. Gross was found at $3,466.67. 9% was $312. There are no other children. And again, the first time Your Honor set these as temporaries back in December was because, once again, visitation was an issue. Jacob wanted 50-50. Ms. McIntyre did not agree to that at that point. That's why we had a hearing. You wanted to see how the visits are going to go. Came back in April, and the parties are still, at that time, were wanting the same things. He wanted 50-50. Ms. McIntyre, in April, was wanting, was leaning a little bit more towards wanting just virtual visits, but was still okay with standards. But at this time, now, Your Honor, that's still an issue, the visits. Ms. McIntyre will testify at this point that the visits aren't working, communication's not working, he's not using app close. That was another issue, Your Honor, was that he was saying he could not download app close, and that was a whole issue. They're supposed to be communicating. Ms. McIntyre would like virtual visits at this point. My understanding is Jacob would still like to do 50-50, and that is where we're at this time, is visitation is the biggest fight still.
Okay, then did you want to call the grandmother first, or did you want to go through the agreement with the parties first? Or is there a time issue? Is that what I understood?
Yes, I would like to go with the mother, Your Honor, the Miss Weil.
So, it's the paternal grandmother then?
Maternal.
Maternal grandmother. Okay, I'm going to get this right at some point. I've got it written down. Then go ahead and bring Miss Weil in, Miss Gonzalez.
All right, she's been brought in. All right. Hi, Miss Weil.
Hi.
All right.
Well, first of all, Ms. McIntyre, you're not objecting, or you're not saying that the person in the Jacob Pistacacci screen is not Mr. Pistacacci? You've identified his voice, you know that's him?
Sounds like it.
Okay, well, I told him to show up with a video or some kind of device, and he didn't. So is that any bar to going forward, Ms. McIntyre, for you?
No.
Okay, then we'll proceed. Then Ms. Coates.
All right. Miss Wild,
Yes, ma'am.
you are the grandmother to the child that Sarah and Jacob share. Is that correct? Miss Wild, are you the grandmother, the maternal grandmother?
Mom.
I'm saying yes.
Oh, there's a delay. We may, okay. So Miss Wild, are you the one who is doing all the exchanges between Sarah, or I'm sorry, with your grandchild and Jacob?
Yes.
And why is that? Why is Jacob communicating with you and not Sarah?
He has her blocked, and he and his mom won't communicate with her. They insist on communicating with me.
And
It's
and that's affecting you, is that correct?
it's very stressful.
And since you're the one who facilitates some of the changes, the exchanges and communication, would you say Jacob is keeping up with his visits on the first, third, and fifth weekends? Is he doing more visits? What can you say about the visits?
Sometimes, like in December, he at the last minute told me, no, y'all are keeping him. And I was like, I mean, I run a business. I realize everybody's got a life, but I run a business. So, you know, I need to know ahead of time if I need to schedule something else. Anyway, and he cuts his visits short. Like he'll call me and tell me or text me and say, hey, I have to go to work, so I need you to come get Jackson.
Okay, and so has he been the one taking Jackson to and from school regularly, or is that you and Sarah?
Well, Sarah does it. I only do it every now and then if Sarah has like an appointment or something and she needs me to take him. Or if Sarah's working and she can't pick him up, then me or my husband go and pick him up from school.
And does Jacob's mother, Nancy Morin, pick up the child on his behalf?
Yes.
And is it more than Jacob picks up the child?
It's my understanding Jacob's never picked up Jackson.
Okay. And how well do you know Nancy Morin?
Pretty well.
All right. Do you have any concerns of Jackson being alone with Nancy?
Somewhat.
Any concerns? Have you known Miss Morin to be an alcoholic, a drug user, abuser, anything like that?
I know that she drinks to excess. I know that I've seen it. I've seen video of it. I've heard. So, you know.
And whenever you, oh, I apologize. Whenever you are exchanging Jackson with either Jacob or Miss Morin, has either one of them been under the influence during those exchanges? And if so, who?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And how long have you known Jacob?
Since they were 15. So
and how old are they now? Or at least one of them?
24. So almost 10 years.
So Miss Weil, I would like to show you a video. And in that video, I don't know if you've seen this, but in that video, I want you to mention if you notice anyone familiar, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, this may not have a sound, but the video is the most important part. I don't know if I can zoom in much, but can you see so far what I've got, Ms. Weil, before I press play?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and push play.
Okay, for the record, Ms. Coates, do you want to kind of sort of describe it just so I can have a record of that? Because
Yes, Your Honor. I just shared a video that was shared at the last setting in April, which was provided by Sarah McIntyre. Ms. McIntyre last time presented this. It was by her friend, who we'll call later to identify this as well. The video takes place at some kind of bar or maybe a restaurant. There is a crowd of people trying to break up a fight. There's one gentleman on the floor at one point. The video then shows another gentleman towards the end with longish brown hair, black maybe, and a white shirt covered in blood. Miss McIntyre's claim is that's Jacob, and then that's the video. And then I took a snippet of the person in question. So.
Okay, thank you for that.
And then I am sharing the snippet.
Is that at the end or the beginning?
This was towards the end of the video.
That's the end of it?
Yes. So this is a snippet of the gentleman in question wearing the white shirt with blood on it. Darkish hair, maybe pulled back, a bald gentleman in between the other gentleman with the white shirt and whoever else. Miss Weil, after seeing the video and looking at this picture, do you recognize the individual?
Yes, I do.
And who do you recognize that individual to be?
That's Jacob.
And again, you know this based on knowing he was 15.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you have any knowledge of this video beforehand?
Yes, ma'am. I heard about it.
Had you ever seen it?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm going to share another photo. This was shared, Your Honor, last time. Emailed to me. I didn't get a chance to show it, but Miss McIntyre sent me these photos, and I would just like Miss Weil to take a look at them. All right. Miss Weil, who are those two in the picture? There is a child and a gentleman in the picture, and the child's on a horse.
Yeah, that's Jackson and Jacob.
And that's just a play rocking horse?
Yes, a play rocking horse. And so this is the same Jacob in the bar fight video.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we're going to move on from that. So as the grandmother, as you spend time with Jackson, more time, do you think it's in the best interest that he does what we would call 50-50? So 1 week with Jacob and 1 week with Sarah?
No.
At this time, the current visits they have, which is the first, third, and fifth weekend, do you believe that's working?
No.
Do you think if only the child had only virtual visits with his father, that would be a negative impact, or would it have a positive? Or what are your thoughts if he only had just virtual visits?
I don't know. I know Jackson loves his dad a lot.
And I would hate to further put you in the position of helping to facilitate, but do you think it would just be better if Jacob had, I guess, what we call like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. visits?
Maybe. I mean, I just wish that he would stop doing all those crazy things and just spend time with his son.
All right.
And then go do whatever you want whenever you don't have him. But please, take care. Jackson's only going to be little for a little while.
All right. Anything else the judge should know that I didn't get to ask you that you feel is important that the judge needs to know?
Yeah. I mean, I wish that they would communicate directly with Sarah and unblock her, because what if there's an emergency, and what if I don't know about the emergency? How is she supposed to tell his dad that there's some kind of emergency or anything like that? I mean, I could be out showing houses somewhere or out of town, and like she can't communicate with him. And he won't get on that. I guess there's an app that he's been asked to get on, and he's told me over and over again that it doesn't work for him. So I just think they need to communicate better and not use me in the middle.
All right. Your Honor, I have no further questions, and I have no plans to recall. So she can be excused if Mr. Jacob
Well,
doesn't.
yeah, let's go through the cross-examination. First of all, Sarah McIntyre, you have any questions, or your mom you want to ask her before I excuse her?
No, ma'am,
Specific
I think,
questions, not just talking to her. No, not
no, ma'am.
replying, not talking to her, not talking to me, but questions for her. No. Mr. Pistacacci, do you have, or Sarah, did you want to say
I just
something?
kind of wanted to interject on like my expectations of what I wanted. I didn't say I wanted just visits.
No, now's
Video visits.
no, now's not the time. Now's not the time. You're gonna get talked, but I gotta release your mother as a witness, and I gotta make sure everybody has the rights that we get to exercise.
Gotcha.
So you get to talk later. And no questions of your mother, Ms.
Nope.
McIntyre. Mr. Pistacacci, you want to unmute, please?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for Shannon Weil as the witness that's testifying right now?
Do you know what date that video was taken, regardless if it was me or not?
That's a question as well.
I don't know. How would I know that?
Do you know if I had Jackson that weekend?
Yes, that's what I understand.
What weekend was that?
I'm sure I can go back and look.
Well, for the record, the video was allegedly taken the second weekend of the month. I don't have Jackson second weekend, the first, the third, and the fifth weekend. For the record, regardless of the game. No further questions.
Okay. Does the state have any further examination, Ms. Coates?
No, Your Honor. We thank this witness for her time and testimony.
Well, the court counts, so I get to ask a few questions too, Ms. Weil. I get that communication is an issue. I see cases right and left, day in, day out, year in, year out, and some's lots better than others. I can tell you, I agree with you. However, this particular case, can you think of anything that will work that these two can actually talk to each other, communicate without being ugly to each other or spiteful or anything else?
I mean, I feel like, you know, if they could just start maybe small and start communicating with each other together about Jackson, because it's for Jackson. It's for what's good for Jackson. That's it. That's all that matters. And so I feel that, you know, Sarah has said over and over again that she wishes that they would unblock her so that she could communicate with them. And she has tried to text Nancy over and over again, and Nancy doesn't even reply. And sometimes they don't reply to me. And it's important, you know, like he got left at school one day and I'm like, hello, y'all were supposed to pick him up. If y'all were going to pick him up, why didn't you let me know? I would have gotten him. Anyway, the communication is bad. And I don't know how to fix
Okay,
it.
I get that, but and you can't think of another form of communication that would work at all?
Can they communicate? Can they communicate through email?
Well, yeah, but email can be deleted. Email can whatever, and the app close. I guess unless they're each keeping copious records and copying things and keeping a file, I guess anything can happen. That app close is meant to share particular kinds of documents, photos, medical records, and communications that cannot be deleted should there ever need to be evidence in a court of law later. You might have to pay for the report, but still, it's not as it'd be better and easier than having to keep screenshots of every darn text or email or what have you. If you never need it again, you still pile up racks of paper. But I that's the only thing I can think of. But yes, email is a way to communicate. You think they would do that by email? They used to do that, or do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of a way that they could talk to each other without, you know, being ugly, and just put Jackson first. Just communicate between you guys about what's going on with Jackson.
But they won't communicate with anything that maintains a digital record because both of them are nasty to each other. And it's a terribly toxic situation. And they don't want record of that.
That's all. It doesn't have to be anything else. Just about what's going on.
Okay. How would you describe their relationship? Is it really that toxic? They really can't talk? They have to learn how to talk slowly first and build up to it again?
It was very toxic. It was very toxic.
Is
but
it like,
that's-
is it two-sided where they both poke at each other and then are ugly with each other? Or is it one-sided, or can you describe the relationship before this court thing where nobody's talking to anybody? Okay, what happened? Ms. Sarah McIntyre's off video.
I
Is
think
there-
that
I turned my video off.
Well, I can't, God darn it. See, it's not fair, Mr. Pistacacci. I told you I wanted you on video so I could actually watch you and watch you watching. And now I want to watch her. But now it's not fair because she gets to be on screen and on live streaming. And you don't. And that's just not fair.
Bro,
And I
sorry.
pretty much, well, no, sorry doesn't cut it anymore. You're in a big custody fight or a visitation fight. I mean, yeah, you're here, wonderful, but you're not playing by the same rules. And I put you under notice that I wanted you to do that. I could say, you know what? I'm not
Can you
hearing you.
provide, can the court provide something for me?
Of course I cannot. We don't have extra. I barely have
Okay,
my
well
own
then, I'm
equipment.
sorry, my lack of
Well,
money does
no,
not
hold on,
dictate
hold
what I-
on. Let me talk. You have some device.
You
What is
got
it
the
you
floor.
have? What is it you have?
This is an iPhone, I believe it's a 7, 6.
And why doesn't it have, you're on video, but why doesn't it
Well,
show you? Is the
because
camera
the
broken?
camera works. The camera works, but it's cracked. I mean, you just can't see it. It works. Cracked. I can't afford to fix the screen, but I can see y'all
And you
perfectly
can't
fine. I'm
borrow a
listening.
phone from anybody for an hour or two. And I know your mom has her own phone at work and she can't loan it to you, but you couldn't have borrowed anybody's phone.
No, I'm at work.
Well, see,
I'm at work. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is. Just trying to see my face. I'm listening, I'm participating.
well, because in a
Yeah.
courtroom, in a court of law, you would be there and I could see you and I could see how if you get frustrated. I could see if you get angry. I could see whatever,
Oh,
what's
believe me,
going on. If
I'm
anybody's
not in any way,
there,
shape, or
I
form
can't see a
frustrated.
thing.
I'm not frustrated in any way, shape, or form, Your Honor.
Well, great, but I am because I told you, I made it really clear, and here you went and said, nope, not doing it, can't do it. And how are you supposed to have, if I ordered for you to have virtual visits, how the hell are you going to have them if you don't have a device that would work?
No problem.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean,
No, because you only want your 50-50 and you think I'm going to give it to you. Well, I gave you a chance to come argue it, but if already we're starting on a wrong foot here, I don't see how anything's going to work if y'all can't even talk to each other. But you really cannot find anything or anybody to loan you some device. You can't even buy a cheapo thing at Walmart that you can bring in and has video on it. You really can't do that. They all do social media now, so I can't imagine you wouldn't be able to use it for this, at least for even if it's, you know, $50 phone or less, or get something off the internet.
You have to understand that stuff comes with cell phone service. You have to provide Wi-Fi. You have to have. I'm at work. I'm not just gonna take the day off because I need to do this. I can't. I have to.
Well, no, you should take the day off if you need to do this, because this is important enough to do this. I would think if you want 50-50.
Well, I can't afford to.
How else would you get it without going to court? I happen to be on Zoom. I could have made you go to a courtroom so I can have all of you in person.
Then let's reset it and go to a courtroom.
Well, I gave you
logical thing to
yes,
do.
and you do not get to dictate what I do here today. I'm trying to figure out why you just chose to totally
I'm
disobey
just
me.
giving
And
you
now
options. I didn't disobey you. I can't afford.
it's like I don't know
cannot
my
afford.
options. You don't have to tell me how to run my court. I'm trying to figure
Okay,
out
well,
why
I'm
you
telling
chose
you
to do
my
what you did.
options. I cannot afford to provide a video device, and if you do, and when you do order electronic visits, I will go borrow money and buy an electronic device to see my son. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Weil, I'm sorry. I had to figure out why we're going forward with not being able to see him when I want to see her. I'm sorry, Ms. McIntyre. This is the way, if you want to go forward right now, or do you want to come back in a courtroom on a different day?
I just want to get this over with.
No matter what.
Yes.
Okay, well then, okay. So back to you, Ms. Weil. Tell me their actual, what you've observed, maybe before the relationship ended and after the relationship ended to now. What's the nature of their relationship? You said it was toxic. Was it toxic during the relationship or just now during court or somewhere along the line it got there?
No, you know, they were young and when they got together, and I think that they had a hard time, you know, when you're young to have a committed relationship. There were numerous times that things would happen, and it would get to the point where, I mean, it was just insanity. And so, and then they would break up, and, you know, and then they would get back together, and then they would break up and get back together. And when Sarah got pregnant with Jackson, it was okay for a while, but I know that Jacob went outside the relationship a couple of times, and that, as you can imagine, very much highly upset my daughter. And after Jackson was born, probably 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months, she left and came and lived with us. And so, with me and my husband and with Jackson. And they maybe got back together once during that time, and then they broke up. So now they haven't been together in over a year, I think, or longer. And so they don't have a relationship now, you know. And the only thing is that they won't unblock her, and she can't communicate with them. And she's like, I'm just trying to communicate with them about our son.
Do you know, let me talk to you about your daughter. Do you know that she can be argumentative, or that she can push his buttons,
Yes.
or that they can be ugly,
Oh,
including her, not just him, but her too? Let me point blank ask.
I'm very well aware. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You can tell.
So even if she's trying and had they unblock her, there's still a problem that if they don't learn how to communicate, communicating is going to be useless, apparently.
Yeah.
Does
they
she
need to learn
does she
how
have
to
a temper, ma'am? Does she have a temper?
She can.
Okay.
If you push her. I can have a temper too. I mean, but of course, I'm grown. I'm 50-something years old. I've learned how to better manage, you know, how I conduct myself, and, you know, if someone's being ugly to me, that's on them. It's not me. I don't take it.
But if I order her to block them, what good will it come if they're ugly to her? She's just going to respond back, I presume, and there's still going to be no communication. Or do you
I
really?
would think that she is not going to be ugly.
Wait, something happened to your audio. It's a delay. Can you start over? I didn't hear that answer. You think what? That she's not going to what?
I don't think that she's going to be ugly back to them. Her and Jacob are not together anymore. The only thing that they have binding them is Jackson.
Tell me how old Jackson is. I don't remember that part.
He'll be 3 in November.
Okay, so he's still 2.5-ish. Okay. Have they been in the room together for a birthday party or any kind of event that they have behaved or lately, or is that not possible at all?
They got together. They met and got together for Jackson's 2nd birthday, not for a party, but for his birthday. They took him to that, I don't know, that kid's place on Broadway, and they were
Cheese or something else, Peter Piper or something else, or
no, it's down Broadway. I can't remember what it's called.
Museum. It's the Children's Museum.
And they were totally civil to each other. And they weren't dating, they were not together, they were totally civil to each other. So, you know.
And now, well, I don't know if they're not being civil to each other, they're just not communicating right now, but you think if that door was open that they would stay chill now that they're not in a relationship and be able to communicate?
So.
You would hope so.
I would really hope so. I mean, I can't, you know, I can't predict.
I know. None of us can make anybody do anything, but you think if they were unblocked, if they unblocked her, that maybe they could talk now?
Yes.
And they showed it at least, 6-8 months ago with the birthday, 2nd birthday. Okay. Is your daughter in a new relationship?
Yes.
And is that any kind of trigger for Mr. Pistacache that you know of? Is that any kind of trigger that would set him off if the guy was around?
I'm not real sure. I know he, from what I understand, he was kind of uneasy with it whenever it first started, last September or August. But my daughter and he have still been together this whole time. They have a good, stable relationship. And it's my understanding that Jacob also has a relationship with someone else now. So, I mean, that's just part of growing up, you know? You grow
Well,
up and you
correct.
move
I'm
on.
just wondering if Sarah has to be alone for this to work, the communication, or if the boyfriend's with her and the girlfriend's with him that communicate, or I need to worry about that too.
If either party is not over the other side, the jealousy is going to be there, and it's going to make any kind of civil conversation very difficult.
Yeah, I would hope that they can.
Okay.
That's my hope.
Is there anything else you think you could tell me that you think would be useful for me? Because once I let you go, I can't bring you back. So
Yeah, no. I mean, I think I've said everything.
Jackson doesn't see the toxicity because they're not in the same room at the same time. Usually it's either.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's good, but and you can't think of another go-between besides you. You're the one that gets called on all the time.
Well, you know, I run a real estate business, and so I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule.
Okay.
So I think, and because I'm his Nana, you know, I mean, I get called on. So
Didn't I order that, or I'm trying to remember, you may not know because you weren't aware of the court order, but let me see real quick. The exchanges were supposed to be at the daycare so that they wouldn't be in the same room with each other. Is that not working to your knowledge and you've gotten involved, or why hasn't it been happening at the daycare?
usually like on Mondays when after his weekend and Nancy drops him off, then Sarah picks him up from daycare on Monday afternoon. But
Okay.
there are many times when, you know, Jacob calls me and says, hey, you know, I can't keep Jackson. I need to bring him to you. And so I'm not going to say no.
So you're not actually there at the beginning or the end. That's happening. It's in the middle that if he wants to turn the child back over sooner, that's why he calls you, because the child's not at daycare on the weekend.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Or can you tell me what happened the time the child got left there?
Well, it was a Monday. I do remember that. Right?
No,
I don't know. It was like December or January or something.
it was a Thursday.
Oh, it was a
Who's there
Thursday.
with you, ma'am? Who's there with you?
No, it's Sarah talking, Your Honor.
It was a Thursday.
Oh,
And
I'm
it
sorry.
was their
Thank you, Ms.
weekend.
Coates. Okay.
It was
what
their
happened?
weekend to pick, it was their weekend to pick him up, and then they called. The daycare called and said he hadn't been picked up yet. And I was like, oh no, you know, what? You know, and so we got there late. Sarah got there
Did you
late.
figure out what happened or why they didn't do it? Do you have any idea what happened and why they didn't do it?
I don't know. I was
We
texting.
picked him up. We picked him up. Sarah did not pick him up. We picked him up.
That's true.
That's right. He's right. It's like,
but it was
3 or 4
after
months ago.
hours now, or the daycare was
Yes.
calling because they were closing. Okay.
Yeah, and we had to pay, you know, a fee or whatever because the daycare workers had to wait.
Okay.
And those fees are not cheap.
Okay. Anything else you think you could tell me that might help?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Coates, do you have any further questions for Ms. Wild before I release her?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McIntyre, do you have any more questions for your mother before I release her?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Bisakashi, do you have any further questions for Ms. Wild before I release her?
Nope. No, ma'am.
Okay. Then let me release you, Ms. Wild. Thank you for being here. I think it was helpful. And if you need to get somewhere, you're more than free to go. You're excused.
Thank you.
Next witness, Ms. Coates.
Yes, Judge. Briefly, I remember now why Your Honor had Mr. Jacob pick up the child at daycare and
Yes,
about
ma'am.
the non-disclosure. I now remember Miss McIntyre ended up testifying, Your Honor, to Jacob's criminal history. He was actually charged with assault against her for strangulation. And so his criminal history is what made you not want them together. He has the assault of family choking, strangulation. He's had possession of marijuana, handguns, and another possession of marijuana charges. And so that is, but most definitely the strangulation against Sarah was why you didn't want the two involved with each other.
Well, sadly, I didn't remember that. I know that sounds like I should have, but I have too many cases and I don't remember all the details when I see multiple cases multiple times. So thank you for that. Okay, you want to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, one of the witnesses, I guess, fell off or she had to
I
go
don't have
back.
my participant witness or list is not up.
It was
the friend
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Would
Yeah.
do you want me to contact her? She had a case. She works at a hospital.
Yes, if you could just text her to come back, because I would like, I only need her, Your Honor, for a couple questions, mostly with regards
Yeah.
to the video. So
See if she's
I don't-
available. We still have plenty of time for her to come back and we could take her out of order or whatever. But if she can come now, we could
I just
get
texted her.
done. Okay.
It might be a minute. She might not have her phone on her.
Your Honor, I could call Miss McIntyre while we wait. For
That would be
Alyssa.
fine. Yeah, let's not waste time. Let's yeah, if she can show up, let us know. And I guess we'll be hearing her. If somebody check the or be checking for me the waiting room when she comes back in. Okay, your next witness, Ms. Pitts?
Yes, Miss McIntyre?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I apologize. I heard you mention that I misstated the visits. So I do want to talk to you a little bit about the visits. I understand that this entire situation has been stressful and you are trying to work with them. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And them being Nancy, Morin, and Jacob.
Yes, ma'am.
You are okay with leaving the visit at a standard possession order if they would both work with you. Is that correct?
If there's an open line of communication where I can get a hold of them and they do what they need to do. Yes.
Okay. And so, however, that hasn't been the case lately.
No, they actually refuse.
And so you're at your rope's end.
I'm just not comfortable sitting my son over somewhere where I have no idea what's going on or, it's just my mom brain.
And so since they refuse to communicate with you and refuse to meet you halfway, at this point, virtual visits between Jacob and your son are what you're asking for, or at least asking the judge to consider.
Yes, if there is no open line of communication. If you can't do what needs to be done, yes, I'm going to have to do that.
And then just to reiterate, there has been issues with Jacob not either picking up your son himself or being late. Is that correct?
Yes, I've asked the daycare, he's never once picked up my son. He's never once picked him up or dropped him off.
And who would be picking your son up?
His mom, Nancy. On their weekend.
Okay. Would it be easier for him to pick up your son from your mother's home, or you drop, or I guess, yeah, pick him up from your mother's home, since you two can't be near each other, really?
I mean, the daycare is working. It's working. It's just like sometimes halfway through his visits, he's just done seeing Jax or whatever. But I mean, like him dropping him off and picking him up, or his mom dropping him off and picking him up at daycare, that kind of, it works for me. I mean, but say, I mean, if he does need if he doesn't halfway through his visit, like on the weekends, if he needs my mom to get him, I mean, whatever they have worked, or if we could communicate that and work that out ourselves, but I don't know if we can.
Okay. So the big issue is just the lack of communication.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how short is he cutting his visits? Like, is he only getting him Friday and dropping him off Saturday, or drop an hour early? How short are the visits?
No, sometimes like he gets him Thursday, after school, and then Friday he goes to school. He picks him up Friday from school. Sometimes he will have us, or not us, my mom, meet him to pick up Jackson either on Saturday or Sunday. So he's cutting it about a day or two short sometimes.
And it's supposed to end on Monday. Is that the standard?
Yes,
Supposed to
ma'am.
end
So
Monday
Monday
morning?
morning.
Okay.
Yes, Judge. So, the standard is that when it's not his weekend, he gets the child for a couple of hours on Thursday. And then when it is his weekend, Your Honor, he's supposed to pick up the child from daycare on Friday and drop him off Monday. That is what you ordered.
Okay.
And then another concern I had was I got it reiterated to both of them through my mom, but Fridays are technically my days through the standard possession order. So for a while there, just because of the
The off weekends or every Friday?
every Friday.
Ms. McIntyre, by school you mean
Daycare.
okay. And
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
okay. So on your Fridays, which is the 2nd and 4th, he's not taking your son to school, or you're not taking your son to school on Friday?
No.
Wait.
So Thursdays, I believe in the order it states Thursday he has him, Thursday night. Friday during the day is my time, and then he gets him Friday night.
Oh, okay.
I had a lawyer look over our possession order, and that's what it states. Friday during the day is my time.
Okay. So instead of taking him to daycare and then you doing whatever you want on Friday when it's technically his Friday weekend, he doesn't take him?
He doesn't take him. He'll just keep him at home, even though I pay all this money for daycare.
Okay, and that's your concern, is
It's an
that?
extra day for me to spend time with him. How is that wrong?
Mr. Pistakashi, you don't get to cross-examine her right now. You get to do it later. So hang on to your
That
thoughts.
was a
Don't
question for the
interrupt.
prosecution.
No, they don't get to answer questions. You all are the witnesses, not the state. So you don't get to interrupt in the questioning. When
These
it's your
questions
turn,
are
I'll give you
designed horribly wrong.
it doesn't matter. You're not the prosecutor. You don't get to dictate. You get to answer questions when it's your turn, and you get to ask questions when it's your turn. It's not your turn. And I'll give you the same courtesy. Okay, Ms. Coates, you may continue.
Yes. So Ms. McIntyre, does he at least ask you if that's okay? Not to take him?
No. There'll be times when I check in to daycare to see how Jackson's doing, and she says he's not here. So then at that point, my mom will text him and say Jackson didn't go to school this morning, and he's like, yeah, I just kept him. So no,
Right.
he does not ask.
And is this daycare just a regular daycare, or is it kind of set up to teach children kind of on the side, get them ready before pre-K? Is there something special? Is that why you're concerned that he keeps missing Fridays? Or is it just solely because you're the one paying?
It's I pay my money out of my pocket every week, and I do it by myself, so it kind of just bothers me. I wish he would let me know beforehand, so that way I could say he's only going to school 4 days a week, and I could pay for 4 days a week. It's costing
Not
me
a
money.
daycare. It's a care center. It's a
It's
babysitter.
an in-home
What
daycare.
part did you not
There's
get, Mr.
three
Pistakashi? Mr. Pistakashi, you're gonna stay muted until it's your turn, Mr. Pistakashi. You get to tell me your side when it's your turn. It's not your turn. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Don't interrupt. Ms. Coates?
It isn't. I'm sorry. It's an in-home daycare facility.
Is it still the Little Wishes, Big Dreams?
No, ma'am. Yeah. Where's his paperwork? I had paperwork for his daycare. Her name is Christine Zaminsky. He's board certified and everything. She runs an in-home childcare facility.
And where is that?
It's in Fisher. It is.
You don't need the address, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the
Just how many miles from you or him or whatever?
Miles from me, I don't really know miles. I suck at that, but it's about, I want to say it's about a 10-minute drive from me.
And
Out of
and it's
curiosity, do you know what the drive is for him?
Probably about 40 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And so Christine, it's her home, but she's certified. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And is the Christine with a K or is it
A C.
Okay. And how do you spell her last name?
Oh, it's tricky. Let me go look. It's a Zimminski.
All right. And does she do anything special? Is she like, does she have like a schedule, like an itinerary that she says, today we're going to do this, we're going to learn this, or mostly your main issue is that he's just not telling you and it could be saving you money to just pay for 4 days?
No, yeah, she teaches them things. She sits down with them. They have the little daily classes and then they play and they're on a schedule. So yeah, he is learning at that school, so that's also a concern, but the money is a concern too.
Okay. And again, you would have no problems if you didn't take your son on a Friday, just let you know so that
Right. If
can-
I knew, because every Friday before the week I pay for daycare. So if he could let me know by Thursday or whatever, that he isn't gonna have him or he's gonna keep him from school on Friday, that would be fine with me. It's the communication thing. I just need to know.
that's it. It's the communication. You're okay
That's
with him
literally
spending more time. It's just there's no communication to let you know if your child's okay. If
right.
just,
That's my number one thing right now. Is just communicate. You can spend whatever you want with your son. I don't have any problem with that. I just want to be communicated with. I want to be kept in the loop, and I just want to co-parent correctly for my son.
And I mentioned earlier, I was just reminding the judge, his criminal history, that assault was against you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that was in what, 2021?
It was December of 2021. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And is there currently any protective orders or anything like that against him where he's not supposed to be in contact or?
No, ma'am, there was. They asked if I wanted to continue it, and I let them know that I didn't.
Okay. I'm just making sure that we don't violate anything at this point. Would you feel comfortable, I guess, exchanging your child if the daycare situation's not working out, maybe exchanging your child at a museum or at a McDonald's or something? Is there?
Yeah, I have no concern that he's going to harm me or my child. I mean, if we, do the drop-off pickups in public places, it doesn't really bother me. Even if it's at my mom's house, it doesn't bother me. I'm not really too concerned on that part.
Okay. And your friend hasn't gotten back to you, is that correct?
No, I believe she's in her case right now. Oh, she said she can't get on because she cannot be excused from work right now. I can ask her when she can.
Okay, so we'll just keep going. And then I will ask you about that video. So Ms. McIntyre, after that video and during the hearing, you did send me an email, correct, where it showed the timestamp?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me 1 second. Let me find it.
I believe it was March 13th. So if that's correct, he is right. That's the second weekend of the month.
So that's your email, right, Ms. McIntyre?
It's on screen share?
Yes, Jen.
Okay.
McIntyre. Yes, that is it.
Okay. And for the record, I'm sharing an email Ms. McIntyre sent me back on April 19th. This is a screenshot of the opening video. And so I'm scrolling down.
Sometimes
it was April 13th.
Okay. So Ms. McIntyre, can you explain how you were able to, I guess, get this timestamp of Saturday, April 13th?
So on iPhones, with every picture you take or is sent to you, you can just swipe up and it'll give you all of the info like location, time, place, wherever that video was taken and when it was taken. And what kind of phone it's taken on.
All right, and scrolling down and it says shared with you by Lisa. Was that Miss Allison Flores that was here earlier?
Alyssa Flores, yes, ma'am.
Oh, Alyssa Flores, yes, who was here earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
And she is the friend that you share mutually with Jacob?
Kind of. I wouldn't say
Okay.
they're friends. She is the sister of his girlfriend, and she's my best friend.
Okay. All right, so that was April 13th. So that wasn't one of his weekends. You stipulate to that.
I don't believe so. If it was the second weekend of April, that would have been my weekend.
Right. But this video still caused you concerns, is that correct?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
And what is your concern, that he's going to leave your son on his weekends, or just
I mean, he
the way-
does. I haven't seen him do it recently. I will say, I don't know if it's just he's getting better at hiding it or if he's just not doing it, which would be ideal. But he goes out, or he was, I can only attest to what I've seen, but he goes out and parties on weekends that he has my son and leaves my son with his mom. So that was just a concern. I just want him to be present and be a dad when he has his son.
And you're not, obviously, you have no concerns about him harming your son?
No, I don't think he would ever do that.
Okay, you're just concerned is that he'll get into some trouble and your son may be left at a predicament.
Right. Yeah. He just gets into a lot of things that are dangerous and all that. I don't want my son around it.
And then I remember last time you testified that the reason you don't want your son alone with his paternal grandmother was because she has a drinking problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Has she ever been charged with like a DWI or anything like that?
Somehow she always gets away with it. They always release her. There's been a couple times where when I was in a relationship with Jacob, he would get calls from the police saying, your mom's intoxicated, we need you to come pick her up. But I don't think she's ever been charged. I'm not too sure. I haven't looked into that.
And has she ever picked up your son under the influence of alcohol?
I mean, not that I've been aware. I mean, I know that she's watched my son at her house under the influence, but I don't know if she's been in the car with my son. I think Jacob's pretty big on that, on her not driving as she's been drinking with Jackson. I would hope.
Right. And then when she has watched your son, you said possibly under the influence, has anything gone wrong that has raised concerns for you? Did somebody call you and say Miss Morin's passed out, your son's just crying, or what? Has something happened?
Well, I mean, there's been plenty of times where me and Jacob would have her watch him so that we could go run errands or do whatever, or just, have time to ourselves. And she'll call a couple hours later and we can just tell her she's plastered. So.
And recently have you noticed she's been under the influence while taking care of your son, picking him up, or anything like that, or?
I have no clue. I have no communication with them.
Okay, and that's again because she blocked you?
Yes.
All right. Anything else the judge needs to know at this time that I didn't ask you?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions. Just reserve the right to recall if necessary.
Thank you. Mr. Pistogashe, now's your time to ask questions. You want to ask Sarah McIntyre any questions? You can free to do so.
Damn. I only remember one thing because all the other stuff was pretty allegedly and gibberish. But the last thing she said was that my mom would watch Jackson while we go out. Sarah, where would we go out?
You for every time? Like when we go to the store, if we go get food, if we go do this, if we go do that, your mom would watch him for us.
Has she ever watched him while we go to the bar?
Yeah.
So, what's the issue if my mom watches them while I go to restaurants and do my thing by myself?
Because you get your son 5 days out of the month. You should want to spend time with him out for those 5 days. You're
I
free to
do.
do whatever you want.
No further questions.
You know, it's best not to do things that'll end up with you having to face an arraignment, you know, and your son being without his dad for even just a few days. You know, it's nice to avoid those things.
Okay. You haven't communicated with them for a while. You're asking for communication. Do you actually think if somehow they drop that? Wait, I'm talking to her. She's the witness. We're going to talk to you in a minute, Mr. Vistakashi. I promise.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Sorry.
I know. I'm sorry too. I'm looking at her, but you can't tell that. Ms. McIntyre, I'm talking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you really think y'all can talk civilly and calmly and adult-like instead of reverting to crap or toxicity?
That's honestly what I want. That's what I hope
I know
for.
that's what you want, but do you think you can get there immediately, or is it going to take time and training, or what's it
I
going
mean,
to take?
I think mentally I've gotten myself there. I can do it. I'm capable. I can't speak for other people. I mean, I think we can. I think we're capable. I mean, we did it a couple months ago and we were okay. We were kind of figuring it out. And then
Where was it a couple of months ago? I heard about the 2-year-old birthday dinner.
yes.
Whatever that
So
was.
6 months ago, I'm sorry. I always say a couple.
So tell me how that went. Actually, y'all showed up
It's
separately, or you went together to the same place, or how did that work?
no. I had kind of messaged him and said like I kind of want to get together for Jackson's birthday so we can have both of us. If we could just, find something fun for him to do. And so we decided to go to the museum, the little children's museum. And we both met there in our own cars. And we were fine. We had a good time. And then sorry. And then afterwards we took him to the park. And then after that we went to Chick-fil-A. I bought Jacob dinner and we were fine.
You just don't get to do it very often?
I mean, I wish we could do it more often. But he just doesn't allow that to happen.
So there's hostility? Is it just because you're on opposite sides of the equation for what you want, or is it something else?
Well, we were, like I said, back in November, we were fine. And then I want to say a week or two after that is when all of this craziness started. He found out that I was dating someone else. And ever since then, he's had me blocked. He refuses to communicate with me. And it was kind of just that, finding out that I had, had a new boyfriend. So.
And did you start that before or after the child's birthday? I assume it's after the child's birthday.
No, I was with my boyfriend before then.
But did he find out before the child's birthday?
No, he found out after.
So that's why you think the birthday thing was still okay, because he wasn't aware of the relationship?
Right. And that's why, I couldn't tell him because I knew how he'd react.
And now with time and maybe that he has a relationship too, you think you could get back to the place where y'all could talk?
I'm hoping so. I mean, it's best for our son that, he sees both of his parents and we communicate correctly. I just want my son to be happy.
And if it goes south, like you start to communicate and then one of you, I don't know, thinks of something, and is it you that would jab at him first or him that would jab at you first, or either of you? I mean, what is usually the scenario?
I mean, I don't think I have it in my heart or care enough to sit here and jab at him anymore. I've done it for 9 years of my life and I'm kind of just tired. So I don't think it'll come from me.
So if he tries to irritate you, you think you can not engage or pull back?
Absolutely. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with it. Seriously. When stuff like that happens, I just kind of shut down. I'm not entertaining any of that anymore.
Did you get help for that, or how'd you come to that realization?
Yeah, went to counseling for a couple months.
Okay, well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't, I keep hearing good things of you, him being a father, and I guess you being a mother. It's just y'all can't talk. Is that really the bottom
Yeah.
line?
I mean, I'm sure like I never said he was a bad dad. I wish he showed up a little more for his son and did a little more things. And really I think our problem is just the communication and I don't
Okay.
know, like the beneath the hatred or whatever, the secret animosity or whatever. I think that's more of the issue.
Okay, well, sometimes time does kind of make things a little bit better, and sometimes it takes a
Right.
lot of time to make things a little bit better. And you got a young child, you got a lot of years left, and I'm just trying to figure out early on here what
Mhm.
y'all can't work it out. I have to work it out for you, the stranger in the room.
Right.
I'm hoping that
I
y'all
know.
can connect and y'all can figure things out, and y'all can both get older and wiser quicker.
Mhm.
That y'all can do whatever you want on visitation. And honestly,
Right.
that could include 50-50 if he gets there without a court order. You can do that. But if
And I'm
I
cool. Like that's never been 50-50 right now is a problem for me because he hasn't showed me that like he's capable or that like, deserves it in a way. But like I'm sure we could work towards that. I never wanted to keep his son from him. I want this to be as fair as possible. So I think we could work towards 50-50 eventually.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you that because I tell all people that when they have visitation disputes, just like, look, the visitation part, and this is for you too, Mr. Pistakashi, and I hope you're listening to everything anyway, that the visitation part of the order is the only part that y'all can tweak on your own because you're the ones that are there. You all are the ones that know what's best for your child. And if y'all can talk and then y'all can talk and agree, y'all can do whatever you want on visitation. That's the way the whole thing starts, that that if y'all can reach any agreements that you're allowed to do that, but failing mutual agreement, then here's the court order. So most
Right.
people, need something in writing, they can abide by it, and that's great. But if it's not working, or if he wants more and you're willing to allow it, y'all can do that. But he
Yeah.
obviously he has to, meet the point where you think he's overcome those concerns you have about wanting the child and being around for the child instead of stopping the visits early. I get that.
Right.
But that's something you don't have to run to get lawyers and go to court and open it up and fight out visitation if you want to tweak it. That's the good part. The rest of the order, you can't change on your own. You can't change custody. You can't change child support. You can't flip insurance, or if you do, you need to get into court through the AG's office or on your own with private lawyers to flip the order. Otherwise, you're still stuck with an order that's no longer workable. The visitation,
Right.
you can tweak on your own. Now, if you can't tweak it or y'all get in a bigger fight, no matter what I order today, and it's not working out, then one of you would have to hire a lawyer and take it back to court. And it wouldn't be as easy as calling the AG and say, I need a visitation modification. We don't do visitation modifications in this court setting or by the AG services. So you'd have to hire a private lawyer for that or figure out how to take it to court yourself if you really had disputes and couldn't resolve it and the order became unworkable. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that don't expect to run to the AG and come in here for free, because that ain't gonna happen. I don't have the authority to hear visitation modifications, just child support modifications. That's the way the law's. Okay, anything else you want to say, ma'am? I know I've been talking to you, but anything else you think you want to say before I move on to the next witness and the next witness? And then we'll have a chance to come back around probably to respond to anything else.
Okay, I'll wait till the end. I don't think what I have to say has anything to do with what we just talked about, so.
Okay, visitation. Okay, Ms. Coates, next witness. Oh, wait, your witness isn't available still?
Let me check. She has not replied yet.
Okay, then Ms. Coates, next witness.
I'll go ahead and call Miss Maureen Jacob's mother. I'll be bringing her in. Miss Maureen?
She may have stepped away from her screen.
I'll call her.
She's here. Thank you. She's here.
I'm here.
Great. Thank you, ma'am.
Miss Morin?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
You put the
Okay.
camera on your face for me?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
So, Miss Morin, today we are here to talk about your grandson and visits. So, Miss Morin, are you the one who does most of the exchanging of your grandson on behalf of your son?
Most of the time, he's always
I lost the
working.
video on you, ma'am. Again, the picture's not on you.
Oh,
Can you set it
I'm
up?
sorry.
That's okay. Although
I
I'm
said most of
a witness, I like to see him. While you're talking, I like to see your
the.
face.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I just got finished eating lunch, so
Oh, no
most of the
problem.
time because he's working out of town, so most of the time.
All right. And Miss Morin, is it true that you have Miss McIntyre blocked on communicate on texting?
I don't know. I have to check. I didn't realize it.
When was the last time you talked with Miss McIntyre with regards to your grandson?
I communicate more with her mother.
And why is that?
Because her mother texts me and I text back. We have a group text message. Her mother, Jacob, and I.
Miss Morin, there's been some testimony that you have Miss McIntyre blocked, and that's why you're communicating with her mother. And so we
Okay,
need to
well,
find out if you have an issue with Miss McIntyre. Has she harassed you or something, which has required you to block her, or
not lately. But I'll check into it.
she hasn't harassed you, or you're lately you haven't blocked her?
No, I don't. I haven't realized that I blocked her. So I will check my phone in just a minute, see if it's blocked. If it's been blocked, then I'll unblock her. But lately, she has not harassed me.
Has she harassed you before?
In the past years, yes.
In the past years, meaning recent years, or like
last year, last year.
Last year, what happened?
There's been a lot of incidents. Yeah.
Well, the court needs to know that, what has Miss McIntyre done that caused you to maybe block her, and then you forgot to unblock her. Also, if you could just please put your camera back on your face.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Can you see me now?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. There's been plenty of incidents. She comes to my. There was a time where. Are you there?
Hold on, Miss Morin. Don't move. If you move, it messes with your audio.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There was a time.
I haven't heard most of what you said, Ms. Morin, because it was cutting out. If you said anything important, you want to repeat it, please?
Okay, so there has been incidents that she has harassed me. And in the past year, 2 years. So, it's just, it got to the point where I got tired and fed up with it. And I just blocked her, I guess, and then forgot to unblock her. There's an incident that she went to my house. She knocked my door down and she went into my house at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And me and Jackson were asleep in the bed and she assaulted me. So I called the police and her and her friends, they left. The police came, they fixed my door and they took pictures of my face. And so I just got tired of it. I really did. That was just it's nonsense.
Okay. Did she get charged? Was there a restraining order?
I did not press charges because I did it for Jackson. I didn't want nothing to happen to her because that's Jackson's mother.
And do you have any police reports at least?
I can probably get them. I don't know if they still have the records of them. I do have a picture of myself. I can look in my phone and because I took a picture. And the police did take pictures of me too. I called my neighbor, Max. He came and helped me also with the door, fix my door, and kind of, help me, just calm down because I was hysterical.
And Miss Morin, again, your face is not fully in the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, again, Miss Morin, under oath, Do you have a drinking problem?
No, ma'am.
And you know, how often would you say you drink?
Not often.
Have you ever been pulled over for suspicion of drinking?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever gotten so intoxicated that the police has had to call your son to come pick you up?
No, ma'am.
All right. And I understand you do communicate with Sarah's mom more, but do you think you can communicate with Miss McIntyre now with regards to exchanges, since it seems like you're the one who steps in for your son to pick him up from daycare because he's out of town?
Right, working. Mhm.
Do you think you can communicate with her through text messages?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, for the best interest of my grandson, I will.
Okay. Text messages, or would app close that your son
Either-
was ordered to use?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What did you say? What was your question?
I said, would you prefer to text or use app close?
I mean, text messages. I mean, it does it. Whatever is the best interest for my grandson, I will do it.
Okay. Miss Morin, do you and your son live together?
Yes, ma'am. We live
Okay.
in our house.
All right. And do you guys have a laptop or an iPad or
Mm-mm. I just have
no?
my phone. Mm-mm.
Okay. If
Is that a
Judge
no?
were no, you don't
You
have
said-
any other devices with cameras?
No, ma'am.
If your son needed to use your phone to maybe have a virtual FaceTime visit with his son, could he use yours?
If I'm at home, if we're all at home.
Mhm.
I mean,
And
yeah.
or does Jacob pay for his own phone, or is he on your plan?
Actually, I'm on his plan and he pays for it.
Okay. And is there any way you two could obtain a device? You know, maybe an
Well,
iPad or something.
his screen is broken. That's why he can't be on camera. And I mean, if that's necessary, well, then I mean, I guess. But I mean, I don't want to spend money, and I don't want him to spend money because he really can't afford it.
All right. And
To buy
again,
a
I'm
new
just
phone.
asking, if there's a way to get a device or something to communicate it if he needed to.
I will try. We'll figure something out.
Okay. Do you know why his phone is cracked?
Well, he has a construction job, so I guess I guess he drops it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not with him, so I don't know what. He works in construction.
Okay.
It's a rough job.
Okay. Half of your face is still only showing.
I'm sorry. It's that my arm is.
Yeah. So
let me put it down on my computer. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
there we go. Miss Morin, are you
Can you see
aware
me?
of a video? Yes.
Okay.
Are you aware of a video that was taken of your son back in April?
Allegedly.
What kind of video?
I'm just
kind of
asking.
video?
Just in general. Are you aware of any
Oh,
video?
no, not that I know of. Not that I've seen anything.
Oh no.
If I were to show you a video, remember you're under oath, could you identify if it's your son or not?
It depends on what you're going to show me. I don't know. I mean, is his face clear? I don't know.
I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to share the screen.
Okay. If I put you on hold, I need to answer my calls. I have a client coming in at 1:00. So
I think we'll be done before one with you.
Yeah, give me just a second. If this video would like to work. Sorry, Judge, give me 1 second.
That's fine.
Yeah, they don't want digital record.
I think it stopped working. while I figure this out, Miss Maureen, do you think that your son and Miss McIntyre can communicate effectively, or why are you the in-between at this point?
Because he works a lot, but he does spend, the time that he's that Jackson is entitled to come for the weekend. But during the week is kind of hard for him because he's out of town, because he works out of town in construction. So I step in, and I like to spend my grandson. I mean, he's my grandson. So I mean, I love to spend the time with him. So whatever time I spend with him, and then when he gets home, he spends time with him too. So I get my turn and he gets his turn.
What I asked is, why is it that your son can't communicate with Miss McIntyre instead of the grandparents, stepping in for them?
I mean, I don't want to get in the middle of that. I mean, I can't answer for him as to why they don't communicate. But to me, I feel that the communication has to be there for the best interest of the child. And, she's done a lot of, bad things to us. And so, I mean, but I back it, then again, the best interest of the child.
Okay. Do you encourage your son to communicate with her instead of you?
Reach him. I mean, he's an adult. Can you hold on just one second? Okay. I mean, he's an adult. I mean, that's his choice. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but I just don't understand why. But that's up to him. He's an adult.
All right.
I mean, like I said, he's done a lot of bad things, and sometimes, when people do bad things.
So this video was previously showed earlier. So I don't think I need to reinstate the video or describe it. Do I, Judge?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna play this
There's
video
no
for you.
sound, correct?
No sound, correct. I don't know how to get the sound to work, but it's not relevant at this point, just the footage. So Miss Maureen, if you could just watch all the way through, and then I'm gonna show you in a snippet what we're talking about.
So much plumber's
Oh my
crack.
gosh, can't even see anybody. I don't know. No.
So here's a video right here, or this is the snippet. I guess I stopped it. Does this look like your son? Do you remember this incident? Did he come home and tell you, hey, some guy attacked me and I was just defending myself? Is that not your son?
No, ma'am. I don't know nothing about that. And I don't recognize him. Nope.
Okay, so that's not your son?
Nope. Nope. I put my glasses on.
The judge's face. The judge.
Does it resemble your son? I mean, even if it's not an identical picture or a good picture, you don't think it resembles your son? The height, the weight, the color hair, the
out. I can't understand what you're saying. You're
well, you just denied that's him. I've had a few people swear that's him. Well, I have a new laptop. I'm hoping it's working. However, if you
it's her device. You may have to turn off her camera at this point, Judge.
Cannot understand you. You're cutting out.
I get that, but it's not me. Stop your
understand.
You still can't hear me, Ms. Morin?
Now I can.
Okay. You heard me the whole time, Ms. Coates, or is it my screen?
I heard you the whole time.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Morin, stay off video and maybe you can hear me now.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've had couple of witnesses say that that is your son. I can't see him because he doesn't have a camera that works. I've never seen him, so I have no idea. That's why I made
Okay,
sure that he brought witnesses.
You're
Oh, man.
you're cutting out, Judge. I'm sorry. I know. I hear every other word. I don't know if it's because of my office or because of the internet here. I'm not really sure.
Well, I know it's not my screen, ma'am.
Then it's
Let me
gotta be my-
talk. Let me talk slower. I've had witnesses identify your son on that same video. Now, you're his mother. You may not think it's him, but can you at least tell me if it resembles him, that you'll even admit that it's kind of the same height, weight, hair stubble or whatever, if that happened, was it April of this year?
Yes, Your Honor, April of this year.
Judge, to be honest with you, I don't know. It doesn't look like him. That what
What
I
makes
can
you think
see.
it doesn't look like him? Which part?
I don't. I just see. I see a tall guy. That's about it. I
You
see a
don't even
lot of
think it resembles your son? Not even if you didn't look at the face, but the body?
and I'd have to see it again because, like I said, I have bad internet here. I have to see it again, but I feel, and I see that it doesn't look like him because there's a lot of guys there. They're all like in a certain. They're like, I just see people going all over the place.
Well, I need you to focus on the one guy.
I mean, it wasn't
that guy, the one on the screen right now in the white shirt, t-shirt.
I don't know. I can't know. He looks too fat. I don't know.
Okay, like credibility is a big thing with me, like who's telling me the truth. And you know, I understand that people see things differently and that you may not want to identify your son, but you're actually telling me it looks nothing like your son and even not even resembling your son. Now, are you sticking to that, Ms. Lauren?
Yes, ma'am. But I'd have to see it like in a bigger version because I can't see. I mean, like I say, I have glasses on. I just can't see that. I can't see that version of that person.
So are you on a small cell phone?
Yes, I am. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let me ask you, Judge. Okay, so what isn't this irrelevant to the best interest of my grandson?
Well,
I just don't understand where this is coming from.
It's not your business to determine relevancy and not even to make an objection, but it's been brought up that it's him.
Well, can I make an objection? Because we've already stated that.
Let me have Mr. Pistakashi, if he's making an actual objection, I'd like to hear it.
I want to make an objection. Yes, I want to make an objection. This video, we've already stated and elaborated and made a fact that this video was taken the 13th, the second weekend of the month. I did not have Jackson. So this video has no correlation to the safety and the well-being of my child.
Your Honor, it sounds like he's admitting that's him at this point. We'd ask for that to be noted.
And
no admission. No admission to guilt.
He just said he didn't have Jackson.
I want to see correlation. I want to know the correlation. And why this prosecutor has been dropped. Like,
no, Mr. Pistakashi, you don't get to attack her prosecution of the case. You can have your own lawyer here if you don't have somebody, but you didn't. Now, okay, I'm overruling your objection. I just need to know if you on your side can identify you or not. And that's the whole problem today.
Can I say something? Do you realize that when she broke into my house and she broke my door, Jackson was with me? That was a danger.
And you were drunk? And that's
okay, stop. Okay, stop.
Okay.
Ms. Moran, I heard your story. I take judicial notice of your story. I haven't heard Ms. McIntyre's side, but nobody yet has disputed it. I did hear it. Now, it's not your job to tell me what's more relevant than what. That they're both bad actors, that they've both acted poorly, that they're both young idiots. Fine, great. I get to decide that. I get to decide what goes forward, not you, not your son, not anybody else. I get to decide. Now, you've told me your testimony. I'm trying to figure out what part's relevant, what's not relevant, and whether you really can not admit that that's even possibly your son because he's been identified. Now, if you want to discuss that, I'd be happy to discuss that with you. You don't have to tell me the same thing twice. I already heard it. You're not making a closing argument for your son. That's not your job. I heard the testimony you said about Ms. McIntyre's bad behavior, and I'll be talking to her about it in a minute, but you do not have to repeat it again. Did you, I just need you to answer questions, ma'am. And Mr. Pistakashi, you're going to have your turn in a minute, and it's not there yet. But I've overruled your objection. Okay, Ms. Coates, do you have any more testimony out of this witness, Ms. Morin?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Sarah McIntyre, do you have any more questions for your mom? Oh, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Good Lord. Do you have any questions for his mom, Ms. McIntyre?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Pistakashi, now you can unmute. Do you have any questions for your mom? They have to be questions.
Can I ask the prosecutor something?
Not that she's allowed to answer, but what do you want to know from her, for God's sake? She's not on trial. You're just wasting time. If you have
Why
questions for
why are all her questions designed to attack me? And it's not even for the well-being of the child. And he's not. She
okay, we're
hasn't
not
once
there
asked
yet.
him.
I get to decide the case, not the prosecutor.
What even is the prosecutor's name? There's 7 people here. Is it DeAndre, Roxanne, or Exalio?
It's DeAndre Coates. I told you there's a couple of people in my courtroom that are not participating. Ms. Coates is the one off video. It says AAG, Assistant Attorney General. Doesn't matter which screen it is. You're hearing her.
Well, I can't. I just wanted to make sure I had the right name, but she has great reviews.
Do you have any questions for Ms.
No
Nancy
further
Moran?
questions, Your Honor.
So he's also a male Karen, because he's going to leave a bad review on her profile on like Yelp or Google or whatever he can find.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Morin, are there any other bad acts that Ms. McIntyre, besides the one you already told me about?
And this is where his mom completely loses 100% all credibility with me as both a witness, and she outs herself as just a horrible human.
There's been plenty, but I rest my case.
It's not your case to rest, but this is your opportunity. And if you want to pick another one, I try not to be judgmental of anybody. I try to hear out the whole testimony before I do make a judgment at the very end, because that's my job. But I also like to know who's the bad actors and things. And I recognize nobody's perfect. Everybody comes in here and has something on their background, and that's fine. So don't try to be the angel that you're not, anybody. So including you, Ms. Morin, including you, Ms. McIntyre, and for sure not you, Mr. Pistakashi. And I try not to play favorites. If I'm going to be hard on you, I'm going to be hard on her. But I haven't heard anything yet to be hard on her, except for Ms. Morin's testimony now, because we've been focusing on her side of the case. In a minute, it's going to be your side of the case, and including with your mom here right now. So Ms. Morin, one other incident, and was it before the breakup or after the breakup? So what else do you want to tell me that Ms. McIntyre is capable of that I haven't heard yet?
Well, there's been several incidents that, she just barges in the house and she spits on me, calls me a speck, a fat Mexican, and stuff like that. And I mean, it's like, that's insane.
Okay, I try to make people not leave my court worse than they came in. Now, you did want to stop, and maybe I didn't let you, but I did want to know what other things she's capable of. And her mom's already testified that she's capable of stuff. And I recognize that people are young and volatile sometimes, so they grow up a little bit. And maybe a child makes you do that. Sometimes they don't. But I'm trying to get you all to work together and not make things worse. So now Ms. McIntyre had her mouth wide open like she couldn't believe any of what you were saying. And I don't know if that's right or not, but I'll hear from her in a minute. So anything else you want to say, Ms. Morin?
No, ma'am.
And you are willing to, even though I'm the one that's frustrated and mad at everybody, are you willing to unmute and play nice and in your grandson's interest and be able to communicate with Ms. McIntyre if you're required to?
Yes, ma'am. For the best interest of the child. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you check your phone while you're off video, and do you know that you've blocked her?
When I get off this Zoom call, I will check and I will unblock her if it's blocked.
And you won't reblock her?
Pardon me?
You won't reblock her unless it's something really serious that you need to report to the police, but not just because you got your nose out.
My grandson in the best interest for the child, I will not. block her
Okay,
again.
thank you, ma'am. Ms. Coates,
Okay.
are you done with this witness? Ms.
Yes, I just had a follow-up question about why I was showing the video and things like that. Ms. Morin,
Well,
give-
I've got a client. Okay. I'm at work. I've got a client waiting for me in the lobby.
it's literally one question that I have left. Okay.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
given their attitude towards each other, their history, both their bad acts towards each other, is that why you think they cannot communicate? And that's why you two, the grandmothers, have stepped in.
The best interest for the child, I will do anything for Jackson. But
Honor King.
we do have to communicate a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Communicate better. Yes, ma'am, we do.
All right, Your Honor, that's all the questions I have for her.
So you and here we go again. I can't remember names anymore. You and Miss Weil can talk and you all remain civil with each other, Ms. Morin?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Definitely.
No matter what these two do, you think
you
you
hear me?
can pledge to keep that relationship going with the grandmothers?
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Absolutely, ma'am.
y'all have succeeded so far anyway?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for Ms.
You're welcome.
Morin, Ms. Coates?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so please unblock her and you're excused, Ms. Morin. I'm gonna let you go. You're not gonna be called back. You can go back to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that comment that she claimed Sarah had made was 100% entirely fabricated and directed at the judge. It was her making something else up to save her son's skin, but it was her trying to, trigger the judge and have the judge go, oh, she said that, and that's about, the judge would have taken it personally is what the woman's hope was. Because you know what? His mom, I'm sorry, but she is whiter than Charmin. I don't see that comment at all being directed towards her. That was made up to trigger the judge. And good on the judge for not reacting. I think the judge knew better.
Okay, next witness.
All right, the state's going to call Jacob.
Okay.
All right. Jacob, has Miss McIntyre done something to you recently that has caused you to block her and not be able to communicate with her effectively?
Can you reiterate the question?
Yes. So has Miss McIntyre maybe harassed you, threatened violence? Is there something that has caused you to block her phone number because you feel like if you speak with her, it just causes more problems?
No.
Now, I understand you couldn't, last time you were saying based on your phone, you said your iPhone is a 7. Based on your iPhone being a 7, you couldn't download the app called App Close, correct?
Yeah, my phone runs iOS, I believe it's 9 or 10, and then the app requires 14 or 15.
Okay. If the court was
iOS
to
is
order,
the update, by the way.
okay. If the court orders you to just text instead, is there any reason you could not text with Miss McIntyre?
No. Immediately, no.
Immediately no, as in like, no, you don't want to text her, or no, there's no problem?
No, I don't want to text her.
Okay. What is the reason you cannot communicate with her about your son?
I do communicate with her through my son. I mean, if there is anything, but other than that, I don't communicate with her.
Well, we're not asking for you to communicate her every day. We're just trying to get you to communicate with regards
Whenever
to
I have my son, there's an open line of communication. Yes, just maybe not be apparent to anybody because I don't announce it, but it's there. And I do communicate very effectively with her mom. I send her pictures periodically when she asks for it, and even when she doesn't ask for it. Even any activity we do, I send her a picture. Any special fun activity, I send her a picture. It may not be often, but I do.
Okay. You understand that your mom and her mom are not the parents.
And who are you to say that?
Are you not the father?
I am the father, but what question does that have to correlate? Are you trying to like teach me how to be who I am, or what was that?
I'm trying
Okay.
to ask you why your parents have
That
to
wasn't a
separate
question. That was a
ways.
statement. That wasn't a question. That was a statement.
Okay. Jacob, why is your mom involved in your relationship with your son?
Because I am blessed enough to have a grandmother that is wanting to be involved in my son's life. You gonna count my blessings?
Why is your mother communicating with Miss McIntyre instead of you talking to Miss McIntyre?
Because I communicate through her mom. She texts me off her mom's phone, and I text her mom's phone. I don't know if you're not understanding, but I don't have to talk to her directly. I can talk to other people, like a mediator, like you said, the last court
Okay,
date.
Mr. Pistakashi, why can't you all talk? That's the bottom line, because it's your child, and having a go-between isn't always
I don't
convenient.
need the court to tell me who I can and cannot talk to. If I am willing to
I need to
mutually,
know why you can't
and
talk
I'm
to your
getting to that point.
child's
I'm getting to that
mother.
point. I'm getting to that point.
Then
I'm
let me hear
not
it.
ready to talk to her as of today or tomorrow or the past. I don't need the courts to tell me when and how I have to talk to somebody
Well, you're in
until
the
I'm
course to
ready.
tell you when and how you visit your child and whether or not you get visits or only virtual
Unfortunately, yes,
visits.
I have to.
So you need to
Unfortunately, yes, I have
convince
to do
me
that.
to persuade me
But
what
un-
I should do to make this
I'm,
work, sir.
but I'm trying to speak, and you
Ms.
just keep cutting me off.
McIntyre, it's not time to be eating or walking. Can you like sit down, settle down? You're in court. If you were in a courtroom,
Jesus.
you couldn't do any of that stuff. It's very distracting. I'm trying to talk to him and you're off there. I don't know what you're doing. Okay, Mr.
I've been on court for
Pistakowski.
4 hours. I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm hungry too. I haven't had breakfast and here I am with you. So you can do the same.
Well,
You're
I'm
in a
pregnant
courtroom.
and I need to
You are
eat.
in a courtroom. In a courtroom, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to walk out. So thank you. And it's my courtroom and my rules. I don't care what you think, even if you're sitting on your back porch. Mr. Pistakashi, the world goes around. It's going to go around without me or without you. But usually when parents have a child, they're the ones that communicate with each other. And there's a breakdown here, and I can get it. I see a lot of cases, and you're telling me the breakdown is still there. And maybe in the future it'll get better. I hope to God it does. It makes things easier. But when there's an emergency, that's what I need to know. How can you all communicate civilly where you need to tell her something about where the child is, or who needs to go pick up the child so he's not on the curb, or that you have to either turn the child early from your visits, because it does impact her pocketbook if you take the child to daycare on Friday and she's having to pay for it ahead of time. And those kinds of things. And yes, it's okay for me to wonder why y'all can't talk. I talk to people all the time. They're the ones that communicate. It's not the grandparents doing the talking and the deciding and the negotiating and the telling. It's the parents, because that's your job. Now, you are blessed. You're both blessed. You have mothers that dropped everything to come here to talk to me, because I didn't believe either of you last time, and y'all were pointing the finger at each other. Now, I actually heard good things today. She's not saying bad things about you as a father. She's saying she trusts you with him. I'm trying to give you as much as I can give you, but this breakdown communication is the worst I've seen in a while. You can't even unblock her and text her, really? Or at least during the time period you have the child. Can you at least do that?
What am I required to do when I have my child?
To leave the line of communication open by text, so if there's an emergency or she has to tell
But
you
do I have to
something.
notify her? Do I have to notify her that the line of communication is up, or can she just text it?
Well, if I told you it was your duty to keep a text open for communication during the time periods in which you have the child, and then it's not your obligation to tell her, oh, hey, by the way, I just unblocked you, or oh, hey, I'm available. No. But if she has something that comes up that's an emergency for whatever it is, I don't know, an emergency could be anything. She's on the way to the hospital, for God's sake. You should know that. The child should know that. Yes, that you leave it open during the time that you have the child. And then if you're doing anything to impact the child's daycare hours, that you tell her ahead of time so that she doesn't have to plunk down money on it if you're going to keep the child for that Friday on your weekends. Is that so unreasonable? You just can't even fathom the thought? I mean, really?
No, it's not
Tell me.
unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. But
Okay, thank you. So you're willing to at least communicate with her in emergencies and during the times you have the child, and to tell her if you're gonna end a visit early and or leave the child at a daycare during one of the weekdays, because clearly, and she needs to know early enough to where she doesn't have to pay for it on a Friday. So you need to tell her the Friday before your Friday visit. Do you get that? Can you do that too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. And please just focus on trying to persuade me. Don't focus on me trying to make Miss Coates the bad guy. She's doing her job to the best of her ability, and you don't have to comment on it. And I just need this to go a little quicker now instead of everybody fighting with everybody else. So one witness at a time, one response at a time, and everybody else still gets to reply or respond. So Miss Coates, I'm going to stop talking and let you take over Mr. Takashi's cross-exam.
So Jacob, I understand you would like to do 50-50. Is that still your request?
Whatever's beneficial for my child.
And do you believe that's in the best interest? You getting your son 1 week, then Miss McIntyre?
I believe it would help everybody's situation with an open line of communication. Yes.
Okay. So if you were to do 50-50, you would be asked to keep your phone, or to keep her unblocked for that whole week, so that, she can call him just to see him or hear him or just know if he's okay. Is that something you can do, or do you believe, your mom needs to be in the middle of it?
Not immediately. Over time, possibly. Immediately, no. So
I'm not sure I understood the answer.
I'll clarify, Your Honor. I think I understand. You need time to, I guess, work your way up to being able to talk to Miss McIntyre. Is that what you're saying?
I plead the fifth. I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, but
I
you're
gave
talking
them
about
what I thought.
Mr. Takashi, you haven't rejected what you told me already that you would agree to, right? You're talking about more communication.
No. Yes, I haven't rejected that. That just
okay. I get it. I think I get it. So if it's real specific and it's when you have the child, and if it involves daycare, you're willing to keep the line open, but you're not willing to just right now freely be totally in communication with her at all hours, at all times, whenever she feels like it or you feel like it. That's what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Judge. That's what I was trying to ask, is if it's his possession and Miss McIntyre has a question about the child, can she contact you? So let's say that the judge orders 50-50 starting this weekend. Is it okay if Miss McIntyre reaches out to facilitate an exchange, or do you need your mom to facilitate it, to text Miss McIntyre in your place?
I can facilitate with her mom, or she can facilitate with my mom.
You're open to the idea of communicating with McIntyre, but not anytime soon.
Plead the fifth. Talk about this.
That's fine. I love my job. Keep moving, Ms. Coates. Just wrap it up.
All right. That's all the questions I have for him, Your Honor, at this point.
Well, this 50-50 thing, sometimes it works. I've seen it work, but not everybody can make it work. But usually the first step is you got to be able to communicate, because things have to go back and forth, whether it's medical, and as the child gets older, homework, activities, you name it, it just gets, unless they never talk except to exchange the child, and that's it. That's all you get, and you don't want to know anything about the other weeks that they're not with you. And I wouldn't say that was the best scenario or in the best interest of the child. But sometimes these things work. But right now, even your own mother said you're out of town all week, and that it was her mother that said you return the child early and often. So how would that work if you really took 50-50 possession? Who would keep the child? Your mother, not you, because you're out of town for work, Mr. Takashi? I got to hear more on that if you seriously want me to consider 50-50.
Well, regarding dropping them off early, it is on Sunday evenings when I have to leave I have a 9-hour drive I usually have to make. So I contact her about Saturday saying, hey, can I drop off Jackson Sunday afternoon? I'm not gonna be able to take him to school. My mom can't take him to school either. Is this okay with you? And they usually say yes. But in regards, if they're saying no, then I would have to take the day off to take him to school, exchange him there, and so on and so forth, but etc. But regarding your question regarding
the 50-50, 1 week on, 1 week off, it would just be Sunday's exchange day for each of us.
But then wouldn't it be Monday through Friday, you're not there and your mother has to do all the
No, I have
daycare
the
stuff?
option. Our headquarters is in San Antonio. I have the option to stay at the shop and do shop work in town. So I shop time is from 7 a.m. to 4. So I usually can be there for him, or I am going to be there for him. But
So
the
on
only
your
difference
weeks, you
is,
take the option of working the shop instead of going out of town.
yes, if we do the 50-50, that week that I have Jackson, I will be in town, still at my job, but working in the shop.
So how far away do you go when you go out of town?
My shop in town is 45 minutes from my house, and when I go out of town, it's about 9 to 10 hours, depending on where they want me to go.
So it could just be anywhere depending on the job site at that moment, or?
Yeah, we do highways, so
Okay.
everywhere.
And how long you been at that job? Like it's been pretty consistent?
Yes.
How many years so far or months?
With this company, about 6 months in the industry, about 6 years.
How old are you?
24.
Okay. And then, so you'd be continuing at this work or this line of work, even if this something happens to this job and you could commit to the week on, week off, that's what you're still requesting. You think that would work?
Yes, but I also have better job opportunities lined up. I'm just trying to get my experience here so I can go on and move up in the totem pole, for say.
Would the job opportunities just mean a change of what you do during the day, but does it still mean
it would just be more time in town with my son and more responsibilities.
It would be helpful to get your temper in check before you move up that totem pole.
Okay. What I tried to do last time was I didn't give you 50-50 because usually when I do that, it's people walk in doing it already and showing me it already works, and there's no reason for me to disrupt it. For me to start it is a little harder when y'all haven't already done it. So what I did was I gave you the latest, greatest standard possession order, which did have expanded weekends. I didn't know if it was going to work or not. That's why I didn't do final, so you could come back and argue otherwise. But what I intended was for you to have the child more, not somebody else, including relatives, but it didn't work out because of your work schedule. Now I get that. So if I cut it back and said, Friday after school to Sunday evening, like the old days, would that work? So you don't have to keep asking or telling or making it look like you don't want him the whole weekend because you have to leave him because you're going to get on the road. Would that work better where you had it in writing that it was just Friday night to Sunday? You tell me what time is the drop off time so that you can meet it and you met your obligations, whether to get on the road or whether to get a sleep earlier or whatever it is you have to do to get ready for Monday. Wouldn't that work better than this expanded long weekends that you're not able to meet?
Wouldn't that be one less day to be with him?
Well, yes, but that's what you're doing already because you have to call the grandma to come get him early, right?
Not necessarily. My schedule is very sporadic. That's only happened a handful of times.
Well, a handful's a handful if it's been a few months. So how do you think it would work? Maybe one long weekend off, whether it's the 1st, the 3rd, or the 5th, and one long weekend on. So it's in writing, so you don't have to fight about it, and you just work your work schedule around the visitation schedule. Would that work better?
Well, I'm assuming once we start communicating that we wouldn't need a schedule from the court to determine when we see our children.
Yeah.
We could just go
And
apart.
I actually think y'all are capable of that. You're just not there yet, and I don't know what the future holds, so I can't put that kind of, thing in here unless Miss McIntyre agrees, and I haven't talked to her about. She has been pretty adamant about no to 50-50 until you prove yourself, and that hadn't quite happened yet. Maybe she's changed her mind after what she's hearing about this job and what you're doing and why you're taking the child back early. Because that hadn't come out yet, that it's work related. But right now, what do you think would work in writing? If I don't give you the 50-50, what do you think would work in writing? You still want the long weekends and the Thursday nights? And then the alternating holidays?
Whatever's we've been doing now has been working. I just want a little bit more time with him that I don't have to leave. Like maybe if I pick him up Wednesday and then drop him off Sunday evening.
But then daycare, I don't know how much you can short a daycare provider and they say, we don't want you. I need to fill the slots up with somebody else who can pay me for the whole week.
And that would give him more than 50%.
Every
There's
week.
4
Because, you know,
children.
well, you know, I don't know anything about the person, but I just can imagine it starts to be hard when they can't depend on the regular weekly income.
Of course, I
And they
understand.
have a lot available for 2 days and they can't find somebody for just 2 days every other week. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
So you'd like more time, even if it was Wednesday through Sunday on certain weeks. But you'd rather have the standard schedule, as I've set it out, where it's Friday daycare to Monday daycare, and then you all just, the grandmothers or you now and Miss McIntyre can communicate about leaving the child earlier or picking the child, who picks up the child from school if it's not you.
Yeah, and I'm for the record, there was also a time where Sarah asked for me to pick him up because I don't know if she was busy or whatever, and I did pick him up. That wasn't included in the argument. I'm just not remembering that. That was a few weeks ago. So I mean, I do help whenever she needs
Okay.
help. We just don't. I don't want to talk to her.
Well, I get that, but if you want to
Yeah.
talk her into giving you 50-50 and you think that's possible, when are you going to start talking to her?
Yes, I understand. Yeah, I completely understand.
Okay, okay. Okay, you know, actually, I'm finding it more refreshing now here at the end than at the beginning. So anything else you want to say, Mr. Pistakashi?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any for a follow-up for Mr. Pistakashi, Ms. Coates?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McIntyre, you haven't had a chance to cross-examine Mr. Pistakashi, but I need everybody to be nice now. So do you have any questions you want to ask him at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there have to be questions. In a minute, you get
It's
to
a
respond.
question.
Right now, just ask him questions. Yes, ma'am.
So Jacob, if we do keep our standard possession schedule, do you think you can communicate with me during those times about our child? Do you think you can be adult enough to do that? Crickets.
Well, you attacked
You're
him there.
unmuted, Mr. Pistakashi. I don't know if that's what's preventing us to hear your answer or what. Okay.
Sorry, I was muted.
That's fine. Did you hear the question?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Repeat it, Ms.
I
McIntyre.
asked you if I keep our standard possession schedule, what we have going now, if I keep that, are you going to be adult enough to communicate with me while my son is in your possession? Not talking to grandmas, not talking to my mom, not talking to your mom, talking to me as parents. Are you capable of doing that?
As of right now, no.
Okay, then I'm not comfortable with our schedule.
Well, I get to fool with it, Ms. McIntyre. Do you have anything else you
understand.
want to ask him? Do you have
No,
anything
ma'am.
else to ask him?
No.
You know, I think what I heard is that, or tell me if I'm wrong, that you said you'd keep the line of texting open during the times you have the child. You said you'd tell her ahead of time if you're intending to keep the child on the Friday. So the Friday before, she needs to know and pay for the daycare. She doesn't pay for the extra Friday that's going to be wasted. And there was a third thing that I didn't write it down. Do you remember what it was, Mr. Pistakashi? When the child's with you, and if there, I guess, really emergency
daycare.
situations. What?
Oh, yeah, about the emergencies, yes.
That if, well, if
there
the
was an
child with
emergency,
you, you have to have it open because there could be an emergency. If the
Yes.
child's not with you, I'm not saying you have to keep your text open, but I think you've said it yourself and you've heard it from me that the more and the sooner you can communicate, the better that it might go for you in terms of getting what you want. You heard that loud and clear from the court?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. McIntyre, let me have you respond to Mr. Pistakashi's testimony. Anything you want to specifically reply to or dispute or respond to in some way, how you feel about it?
From a safety perspective and from a mom's perspective, I'm just not comfortable sending my son over somewhere if someone can't communicate with me, and he's already stated multiple times that he's not going to. So
He told me he would keep the line open, but that doesn't mean you can call and check up whenever you
I don't want to call him. I don't want to talk to him. I want to
Exactly.
communicate for our son. I don't care to call
That
him.
he-
I don't care to talk to him.
That he's required to have you unblocked from his text so that you can text him anything or find out things, but not to harass him or to call him every 5 minutes or 5 hours even.
I
But
don't
just that
harass
it's
him.
open, just so that it's open while he has the child. He's agreed to that. And he's agreed to telling you if he's not gonna take the child to daycare for a day, so you don't have to pay for it.
I've heard him go
That's
back on that and say that he's okay with communicating with grandmas. He has not said me.
Mr. Pistakashi, why don't you repeat what you think she needs to hear? And that you agreed to, that I thought you agreed to. You say it.
I agree to leave an open line of communication while I have my son for emergencies and any other purpose.
Another concern I have is that he said that last time. He said that I'm unblocked when he has my son. I've actually texted him the past 3 weekends that he does have my son and I am blocked. So he'll say one thing and he'll do another.
Let me let you respond to that, Mr. Pistakashi.
I'm not sure what number she's referring to. The number I have for her is unblocked, but she does text me off of random numbers, text now numbers.
Right.
Just not regarding our son.
It is regarding our
Or
son.
or it's how do you say, bashing almost?
Okay, what do you think she does that's in that line that is not about the son or that's bashing? Tell me specifically.
Well, do you want to read it? I could read one of them.
You can read it
One of
for
the
me if it's on your
One of
text.
the text messages says, "You broke everything in me." One of the other ones is Sarah saying that she's not going to be nice in court and I should sign my rights away. And the other one is whenever she found out her new boyfriend cheated on her, she was texting me at 2 o'clock in the morning for me to call her and talk to her and communicate through her.
That's not true. I can provide screenshots of the text messages that I sent you. So
Okay. I'm
let's
not
be
going to go
honest.
there. I'm not going to go back and forth on that. I wanted to hear what he thinks, so I know what he's telling me you're doing. So
Right.
did you text him that you broke, that he broke everything in you?
Yes, I did.
And was it a time he had the child or not have the child?
I'm not too sure. That was months ago.
Okay, if you want to communicate about the child, would that be an appropriate text?
Probably not. But I think that was
Okay.
months ago and I think I was drunk. I think that's what that was.
Well, that's when things usually happen and you're accusing them of
Yeah.
being drunk, so you need to think about your
I
behavior.
never said I don't drink.
Okay, ma'am. Well, I'm just saying, you said everybody else drank. I hadn't heard about you, but okay,
I
fine.
drink too.
Okay, well
But I
then,
admit it.
okay, well then I hope it's not around the child because that's what you're asking him not to do, and so
I'm
you should.
pregnant. I can't drink.
Fine, good, okay. About not going to be nice in court and that he should sign his rights away.
I can read that whole message. He didn't read the whole thing.
Okay, tell me the
That's
whole
not
thing.
what that message said. Let's see. It says, let me get to it. I find his number. Okay. So I sent him a text and I said, okay. I said, I really hope that one day you give your child the love he deserves. You get him 8 days out of the month and you piss them away by going out and leaving him with your drunk ass mom. He deserves so much more than what you've given him. He doesn't even want to go over there anymore. He actually hates it. It breaks my fucking heart. I'm worried about him and I'm starting to think that it's best that you sign your rights over. Maybe you should put some thought into that. It would save you and your mom the hassle. Think about the fact that he is a human being and needs to be taught decency, and you have no way of showing him that. You have nothing to show him, no family, no morals, no human decency, nothing. You are not a good father, Jacob, and I'm sorry for thinking that you were good enough to be fit. I said he deserves more, and maybe instead of jumping people down on St. Mary Street and ending up in the back of a cop car, you should be tending to your child that depends on you, instead of letting your fucked up mom raise my child. Y'all are ruining him. Can't wait for April. I'm done being nice. That's exactly what I said, word for word.
And you think that's more appropriate or about the child? You really think that's all related to the best interest of the child, the way you're talking about him and his trashing his family?
That's why I left most of that stuff out, but she wanted
Mr.
to do that.
Pistakashi, she brought it up. Let me talk to her. Ms. McIntyre, you really think that's an appropriate text while he has possession of the child, that you can just text that kind of crap to him?
I don't know if he had possession of the child.
Well, I'm saying from here forward, that's when he's going to communicate with you. Are you going to be doing that kind of stuff then?
I don't have the energy to.
Well, good. But I'm saying you thought that was fine and appropriate, that that's about your child?
I thought it was appropriate.
Then you haven't done the work and homework that I thought you had, because that's ridiculous. You're bashing him, you're bashing his mother, you're cursing and calling
my son.
Well, if you care enough, you've told me he's a good dad. Yet that's not what you're
take
telling
my
me.
kid away from him. He's ruining my kid, him and his mom both. What part of that text was no one understanding? He is ruining
That
the
you need
mental
to
state
reread it
of
and
my
you need to
child.
figure out what's wrong with it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I find it highly offensive, highly inappropriate. And if you think you're the one that's on the high
Okay, it's
road and he's
offensive.
not,
He can get
that
upset
just
all he
proved
wants.
otherwise. That just proved otherwise. And he's not the one that brought it up. You brought it up. You got it? So that's not good. Okay, what about
I think that was
the,
after he totaled my rent. He totaled my vehicle in front of my friend's house, and I sent him that text. I have police reports to prove it. That's why I sent that text. And why I
okay,
kicked in his
fine.
mom's door
Let's
is
call
because
it
he broke my
water
nose in a
under the
parking lot at
bridge.
2 a.m.
Ms. McIntyre, I don't care about that anymore. I'm going here forward. I'm not trying to make you all worse off. I'm trying to make it better. I thought we were getting there. Now we are reversing paths. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that alone. You brought up the bad stuff, not him.
He brought it up, not me.
This is the stuff I'm talking about. And it takes two to tango, Ms. McIntyre. I don't care what you're mouthing off. I'm not going to hear it anymore. I'm talking now. I'm not hearing it. It's not on the record. I just know you're not listening. If your mouth is moving, you're not listening. And that's not good. Great. I get to look at myself on the screen. Haha.
Judge, could we take maybe a 5-minute break? Everybody can take a breather.
That would be how many more witnesses
Why do
do
I
you
have to show my face on the screen? You're the only one on the screen. No one else.
I'm on the screen too. You can stop, Ms. McIntyre. Ms. Coates, I'm going to grant the recess. Let's get 10 minutes. It's 1:10. Let's come back at 1:20. I'm going to leave the record on. I'm going to leave live stream on. You can stop your video. I'm not restarting everything and re-identifying everybody and any of that. So we'll take a 10-minute break.
And then that's it,
Can
Your
I
Honor.
leave or no?
That's
Don't
it. No more
leave.
witnesses after this.
Do not leave. We're not done yet. I'm going to take
Okay,
a
I just wanted to
break.
make sure because no, I just wanted to make sure I didn't hit the leave button or anything.
No, don't leave. You're already not on video. Just stop your audio and I'm going to stop my video and audio and we're going to take a 10-minute break and I'll see you back in 10 minutes. Check your clocks.
Thank you.
My clock says 10 minutes went by.
Oh, yes, Judge.
Yes, Judge. Would you like me to unmute them?
Yes.
I'm here.
Ms. McIntyre, are you there?
Yep.
Okay, stay off video. That's fine if you want to play the same game. That's fine. Okay.
No one's playing any game, and you don't have to be rude. I'm not being rude to you. I'm sorry for
I'm
getting
trying not to
upset.
be rude. You've been pretty rude
I'm
up
not
to
playing
now.
a game. I'm not playing a game. My
You
camera
don't
was
need to
off
tell
because
me. You don't need to tell me anything. It's not your court. It's
camera's
not
off
your
because
time
you're
to
on
talk
recess.
anymore, Miss McIntyre. Are you driving? Are you driving? Are you driving? Okay, thank you.
No.
Thank you. Ms. Coates, did you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. States rested their case. Ms. McIntyre, do you have any other witnesses or evidence to present?
No, my witness can't come till 3. So
Okay. Mother's rests her case. Mr. Pistacacci, do you have any other witnesses or evidence to present?
No,
You'll
ma'am.
have to. Okay. State, you want to make a closing argument?
Yes, Judge. At this time, we ask that all the previous terms be granted, and that Your Honor just gently remind Jacob to turn over the health insurance cards if he hasn't already. At this time, with regards to visits, the state doesn't necessarily have a position at this point, Your Honor. Obviously, both parties have issues with each other. They have bad communications with each other, especially given their long romantic relationship. So, you know, it's also very tender for both of them. The best interest of the child, you know, is that hopefully these parents can come together one day and communicate instead of having the mothers communicate. So with that, Your Honor, we would just defer to you on the visits. Again, we have no position on what a visit should be. It's the evidence is all there. The main issue just seems to be that they cannot communicate given their history. Both did each other wrong. Both families have issues with each other. Just there needs to be time for healing and forgiving. And that's the main issue, is the communication.
Okay. No, I really think that y'all are better off not being in this courtroom than being in this courtroom. I see some problems out there. Of course there's problems or you wouldn't be here. But however, I think you can resolve them and I think you will resolve them as time goes on. But I think I agree with the state that, yeah, you might need a little more time and that's fine. You have all the time in the world. However, kids grow up fast. So you can't wait too long, and it's up to you on how you treat the other parent, because the child's gonna see that. The child's gonna pick up on everything. The child's gonna be in the middle of everything if you all keep this hostile relationship going. And it's up to you to choose to do differently and just start another course. And you can blame me if you want to, that I'm the mean, bad judge, I'm the whatever. You can blame me all day long if you want, but I'm not going to be on your doorstep. I'm not going to be telling you what to do on the visits. That's on you and how your child is raised and whether he becomes a good functioning member without all this dysfunction around him. And or that's what he picks up and that's what he creates in his life because he doesn't know any better, and his best role models, his parents, can't do it for him. He probably ain't gonna learn the difference and he'll repeat it. So, and that's always there. And I think y'all know it and you should know it. If you need to hear it from me, if you don't know it. So I hope you do better for your child than you have through now. And I think you can. I have no doubt you can. You've told me you can. Y'all think you can do better, but just not now. So keep trying. And what I'm gonna do is I don't really feel like repeating everything. Miss McIntyre, do you have any questions about everything else besides the visitation that I
Yes.
think you've heard? What? Yes, ma'am. What question?
I would like to file an enforcement. I don't know how I can go about that. I don't know if I go through it with y'all, but I would like to file an enforcement.
Enforcement of what?
He has not paid child support. I get no financial help. I do everything on my own, so I would like to file an enforcement. I have no healthcare
Okay, ma'am.
for him.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. That's not possible. It is possible, but the first thing that has to happen is there has to be a final court order, and I hope to give that to you today, so that you have a final order, and now the state can and will, if they need to, bring an enforcement action. You get to talk to the state about what that means and what you need to do and provide, and or whether they bring it on their own without your request. That's on. And if they see a pay record with zeros, Mr. Pistakashi, what's coming is down the road, possibly whether court hears whether you're in contempt of court for not paying your child support and whether you should be sentenced to jail. That's for another day. I just tell you that once the order's in place and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then they can bring an enforcement for support. For
I have
lack
one more
of,
question.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I don't know what you're going to decide to do, but whatever you decide to do, if you do the standard possession order like we've been doing, say he isn't sitting here and holding up his end of the deal, is something going to come on me if I keep his child from him during his days? Because
Yes,
I'm
it
comfortable.
could. Yes, it could. The law is real clear on that you can, these visitation and child support are two separate entities, two separate items, two
So what
separate
could
things.
happen if I did do that?
You could be held in contempt of court. You can be dragged into court to be filed on for not obeying a court order. So yes, you don't get to decide that he shouldn't visit because he didn't pay 1 red cent. Now, it's not
I don't care
right.
about the money. I never said if he didn't pay. That's not what I said. I didn't say if he didn't pay.
If then what's the question again? And I missed it because I thought I heard support. If he didn't support.
No, if he doesn't do what he said, if he's not communicating, there's no open line of communication and I can't get through to him while he has my child, I'm not sending my child over there. It's not happening.
If you disobey a court order, it's very possible, but it's not through the AG's office and it's not through my court, but it's very possible that Mr. Pistakashi can file against you for disobeying a court order by failing to obey the visitation part. Now,
That's
I am
fine.
going to put certain restrictions on there and certain items on there that'll help you or hurt you, or depending on what happens and who does what. So I'm trying to fix it too, but I don't have all the answers, people. Parents should have the answers. I can think of a million scenarios and I can't cover every single one of them in a 30-page order. And 30 pages covers a lot, but not everything in life. So that's on you. That's your job as a parent. Now that the specific parameters of visitation, yeah, I can put that in writing, but unless y'all make it work, it isn't going to work. And then you're stuck. Well, what do you do next? So
I'll
yeah,
let him speak up.
if you didn't talk about support, then my mistake, but you have to obey a court order, whether, allow the visitation, whether he pays or not, and you have the right to visit whether you pay or not. Those are not tied together. The other things, yes, ma'am, if you start withholding it for whatever reason, I don't know if it'll be arbitrary or not, but you can prove it to a court if you get dragged into court because you are required to provide visitation. But same by you, Mr. Pistakashi, you're required to abide by all the terms of this, or child support, or you could be hauled into court for it.
Can I just ask a
Okay,
question?
yes, Ms. McIntyre, are you done with your questions?
Believe so.
Mr. Pistachio, your turn. What do you want?
They've been pulling out child support from my check. It comes out of my check, so I
I
don't
have
know
not
how.
received any.
Will it still?
Okay, tell you what. You're supposed to have withholding. It's supposed to be coming out. I don't know if the first one just came out or the fifth one or whatever. You call the state. They're the ones that they control the pay record. They know what's coming in and what's going out. Or if there's a problem, maybe it needs to be resolved. So both of you should call the AG, one because you haven't received it and the other one because you think you've paid it. And or check with your HR department and where they're sending it in case they don't know how to do it, or they're taking out your paycheck and not sending it in until they figure it out. I don't know. I've seen a million things happen on why support didn't come in, even if it was getting paid. So I can't address it. Y'all have to fix it by calling the AG and having them help you. They do that service. They have plenty of employees to help you make sure your child support's getting paid properly and to the right place, and your employer
I've
knows how to
already
do it.
called. They said they have to do a subpoena because his withholding is not there. They had a separate job. They had a different job than the one he's working at. He's not reporting his wages to the state.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to fix it. You can tell me for another 20 minutes of child support stuff and I can't fix it. There's an order for support.
I haven't brought up money till now.
There's a way to handle it and you get the AG involved to help you. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Cause I can't fix it. No matter how much more information you give me, I can't fix it. So you all individually go to the AG, tell your stories and let's see where they come out. And hopefully, and if you change jobs, Mr. Bisakashi, it's still your job to pay it until the new employer, the withholding hits on your paycheck there. It's your responsibility to pay whether or not it's coming out of your paycheck. So that's part of maybe the story. I don't really know. So y'all figure it out or get the AG to figure it out for you so you can get on the same page where you're paying and she gets it. And that way, she can't have that reason for being upset with you, Mr. Pistakashi. So make sure
No,
you
that's
pay.
fine. That's fine. It's coming out. I'll figure that out. I'll call AG and tell
Okay.
them.
His son's not doing it.
Okay, keep
comes
your
out-
pay
comes out of
stubs,
my-
keep your show it. Yes,
it comes out of my
they should have it. They should fix it. Maybe it's the wrong, whatever, account, the wrong wrong social security. I have no idea. Any number of things could be happening. And unless you call the AG and they work it out for you, I can't help you anymore on that. Okay,
that's
your
fine.
question,
I'm not worried.
Ms. McIntyre. Mr. Pistakachi, anything else you want to say? And really on the visits instead of anything else.
No, yeah, I don't want to talk about. I don't have anything to say about the money. I'll figure that out on my own. But
Okay.
for her to say she keeps my son. What do I do? What? That's kind of insane. What do I do about that? She's already kind of insinuating she's going to keep him anyways.
Okay, I take note of that. I'm gonna ask the state to do a couple of things in the order that'll hopefully help both of you. And
That's absurd.
give you some
I mean, I'm not trying to
information.
keep her away from Jackson. I'm not going to do that.
If you don't communicate with me, you're not getting your son.
Stop. You're done. Ms. McIntyre, you said you had no more questions, no more concerns. You're done. You're done with your closing. Mr. Pistakashi, you want to go off a tangent? Fine. I'm not going to let you. Stop. And y'all talking to each other, that's what pisses me off. Y'all are violating all the damn rules I had here today and blaming me for it. Well, I don't think so. This is rude, Ms. McIntyre. This is my courtroom. And I get to keep you as long as I want, including keeping you hostage for the next 20 minutes if I want to, really late, and making you suffer because I can. Now, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. But I'm fed up with both of you because y'all can't follow any rules. And this is what I expect, good behavior from you two people when you're in a courtroom and you can't respect a judge. Psh, good luck with that. Okay, I'm gonna rule. I'm gonna get this over with. I'm get us all out of here and so we can eat, get lunch, and stop thinking about this case. Okay, I think I heard, and I know I heard that they have an agreement on everything else except visitation. Mr. Pistakashi, I don't know why, and I don't care anymore why you didn't give her the insurance card. You need to give her the insurance card. Make that your first priority here today. You got 5 days to do it. You need to get it over there and get it over there quickly. You should have done it already. She can't use it if you don't provide it. That doesn't help your child. That is not in the best interest of your child. So you have 5 days from today to turn it over by next, well, I'd say 5 business days. So by next Friday. What day is that? I'll make it specific. Friday, June 28th. You need to give her the card. Give her the damn card. On the issue, the previous terms are, I'm approving them in their entirety. I don't have a problem with any of it. I'm glad you resolved all that for me, so I don't have to get involved in any of that. Ms. Coates, I need to know the start date on the child support. You just told me it was $581 a month. Do we keep the start date from the temporary orders, or are you doing something else?
But I can put it for July 1st because it's still the same, Your Honor. So, the start date for that will be July 1st.
So there's no, that was the start date from the last set of orders?
No, the start date was January 1st. So,
Well, the problem is you need to take a judgment. I don't want to even hear about what it is now. It's too late. So we
No,
should
we're
just
not.
keep the original start date?
The start date, either January or July is fine, Your Honor. I'm not going to take a judgment now. That's for later. So it doesn't matter, when we do the start date at this point.
Well, then for my benefit, I'm gonna say January, same as temporary orders. So it's on there, it's clear, it's no question. I think you all interpret it that way anyway, but I just want them to know. And I want the order to know with my signature on it. January 1st, 2024 was the start date under the temporary orders?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then I'll keep it the same, January 1st, 2024. Everything else, I will approve. There was no other start dates for anything else?
No, Your Honor, you denied retroactive. Or I
Okay,
think she agreed to not having it. Either way, it was denied.
okay. Then because of the non-disclosure and not disclosing mother's information, I can't do exchanges on the visits at her house or anything like that. So, yes, based on what I heard, I do think it's in the child's best interest to keep the standard possession order in its entirety. So I'm gonna do that. Now, this is what else I'm gonna do with it. The exchanges will continue at the daycare or school, depending on what his age is. But that'll be part of the order, Ms. Coates, the exchange at the daycare or school.
Yes,
I'm gonna put a
Judge.
restriction on illegal substances and alcohol at least 24 hours prior to and during any periods of possession under the possession order. So yeah, you can't drink, you can't drug when the kid's with you. If you go off to the bar, we'll make sure the kid's in a right place, but I would tell you, I wouldn't do that. What the hell? Why do you want the kid if you're gonna go off partying? Just plan your partying when you don't have him. That's what I'm gonna tell you. All the standard provisions still apply. That you can send a competent adult to pick up and drop off the child. So if you have to use your mother's, great, but poor them if y'all can't communicate and do it yourselves. But it's not my problem, that's your problem. So that's gonna still be in there. Everybody gets that provision, so I'm gonna leave that in there. I'm gonna leave app close in there. I'm not requiring it. I just want it. There's a tool when and if you all get to the point you can use it, because it is a worthy tool. It doesn't cost money. Y'all can use it, or you can forget about it if you want. But if you need to exchange medical records, if you need to exchange school stuff, if you need to communicate about lengthy issues that you really don't want to text and screenshot everything you all talk about, then the best way is to do it on AppClose. And that, but again, that's on you. If you want to use it, it's there. If you don't, you don't. I also want the Children's Bill of Rights in there to tell you all what you should and should not be talking to the kid about and to each other about, kind of a healthy reminder of what parents are supposed to do and not do in case it's helpful. I also want the visitation hotline. This is in reference to what you asked, Mr. Pistakashi. What do? You can at least call an AG hotline. I think they're only open half days on Monday to Friday. You have an attachment or something, a standalone page you can add to the back of the order, Ms. Coates, their visitation hotline, their hours. I've seen it before. If you don't have it, ask me and I'll get it for you. But it's a AG creation, so I assume you can find it. The phone number, their hours, and what all they do, so that could be, either of you could call the visitation hotline. If you have questions that come up during all of this, Ms. McIntyre, you can call too, but I'm trying to answer your question, sir. That's what you do. You call the visitation hotline, see what your rights are, and based on the specific instance that you're dealing with. And I think they have lawyers that can help with that, with at least talking to you about those issues. I definitely want to put specific orders on Mr. Pistakashi during his periods of possession, the things he agreed to, or whether he agreed to it or not, I'm ordering it. That during his period of possession, he shall keep communication by text open when the child is in his possession, which includes when the child is even with the paternal grandmother. So if something comes up and she knows the child's not with you and with the grandmother, but she needs answers, Yes, she can text you, Mr. Piscacci. If the child's supposed to be with you and you drop the child off with somebody else, that's still your period of possession. It's charged to you and you shall keep your text line of communication open. All other times, I don't care if you want to talk or not, if you close it or not. The
Yes,
second
ma'am.
part of that is to notify mother. Let's see if I said this right, by Friday of the week prior to his possession, that child will not be in daycare the Friday of his week.
Can we make it
And-
Thursday? Because I actually pay Friday
Okay.
early in the morning.
That's okay, that would be fine. I was gonna ask you what time would be
Thank you.
good. Thursday, what time do you pay?
Friday morning I pay around
Okay, so
9 or
you
10
need to know
a.m. So if you
Thursday.
could let me know Thursday
Thursday at what time? By 8 p.m.
by 8 p.m. latest, please.
And how would you want him to tell you? By text?
You can shoot me a text.
Okay, so if she, and I want by Thursday of 8 p.m. on the Friday before his Friday period of possession, you need to tell her if the child's not gonna be in daycare. If he's gonna be in daycare, she's gonna pay it. You don't have to talk to her, but you have to take the child to daycare. And if you're not gonna have the child in a daycare, if you plan that ahead of time, you know you don't work, you'd wanna have the child for that Friday, you gotta tell her by Thursday at 8 p.m., sir, so that she can only pay for 4 days. And I want in the order, Ms. Coates, and if you're a good scribe, you'll write this down, and I'll be slow, that the intent is that mother know with enough time to allow her to pay for only 4 days of daycare for the week instead of 5. And you can phrase it better than that if you can figure it out. I just want that in there, that the part about telling her about Thursday 8 p.m. is so that what the intent is, so it's real clear about why I'm doing that. The last part of the orders that father is with respect to his possession, he's to notify mother by text immediately of any kind of emergency involving the child. So the child's with you and something happens, she needs to know immediately, not from her mother, from your mother, from somebody else, the hospital, whatever. You need to tell her immediately and take care of business, but you got to tell her. And
Of course, but I have a question about that.
What?
I have a question regarding that. Is there a time frame, like say, like she asked him, like, how's Jackson doing? Is there a time frame that I have to respond to her? Because I can't be always on the phone. But is there like a time frame, you know? Like, is she gonna keep my son for me if I don't message her back in 5 minutes type thing?
Ms. McIntyre, how often do you need to communicate with him if it's not an emergency, if it's not about daycare, and it's not about...
If I text him, I expect a text back within an hour or two. After that, I'm obviously going to assume the worst, so I need to know. He does this with my mom. He'll take 2 days to get back to her. That's not
Yes,
acceptable.
but are you going to be texting him every day just because?
No, I don't want to talk to
Okay,
him.
so during his Friday to Monday, what would be reasonable for you to text on Saturday and he respond in a certain time, or to text on Sunday?
It's not a certain, if something pops up and I have to text him, I'm going to text him on whatever day.
What could
But
pop
he
up
needs to get
if the child's with him? What could pop up on your part?
anything. If I have questions, if I want to see my son, if I want to know how he's doing, anything.
I'm
It
trying
could
to
be
limit
anything.
it so that anything is not, let me text him 3 times a day for the 3 days he had, 4
You
days
don't
he
have
has
to
them.
worry about that.
Well, I don't know. I think I need to put something in the order so we give you some parameters and he knows what's to expect, or he doesn't have to answer. Because if you're texting way too often and he's
I'm not
busy.
why are y'all making it seem like that text that I sent him that I just read to you was from March? That was from 4 months ago. That was not recently. I don't care to talk to him.
No, that's not
I'm
what
not gonna
I'm
blow him
talking
up.
about. What I'm talking about is I don't think it's reasonable for the short period of time he has a child that you can text whenever and whatever
Why
at
not?
any point. Because it's his time. He doesn't need to
But
be answering to you.
if it's pertaining to my child, why can't I text him? I'm sorry, I'm
Because
confused. I
he
don't know if
has
I'm not
the
understanding
child.
correctly.
If it's an emergency, you can text him that he has to communicate with you because grandma's on the hospital. I can't, all sorts of things can happen. If it's an emergency, of course you can text. The other part, if you just want to find out how he's doing, no, you leave him
Why?
alone to have.
He texts my mom all week. He texted daycare all week. Hey, can I have a picture of my son? Why is he
Is he
allowed to do it and I
texting
can't?
you all week? Is he texting you? No. Or
Why
maybe
is
he
he
is.
allowed to do it and I can't?
You can do text to his mother then. She's going to unblock you. You can text her all day long if
I
you
don't
want.
have to talk to
That's
that woman.
not right
She's not the
either.
father of my child.
I get that, but I'm
I'm
giving
not in
you
court with
limits.
her.
He has some
Talk to
limits.
him.
You're going to have some too. You can text once on Friday, Saturday, and once on
No, I'm
Sunday.
gonna text him whenever I want.
Okay, then
If
he
I
doesn't
text him
have to
Thursday, if
respond
I text him Friday, if
immediately.
I text him
He
Saturday, I
doesn't
can.
have to
I'm not
respond
going
every 2
to.
hours.
I'm not
He
going
doesn't
to.
have to respond to any of it. And you can assume the worst. That's wrong. That's wrong that you can text every 5 minutes.
You're not
or
understanding me.
I am understanding you that you want control of his time
I don't
and what
believe
he's
you are.
doing and
I
how
don't
he's
believe you
doing
are.
and
I think you're
everything.
taking it the wrong way and not listening to me. I think that's what's happening. I'm
I think
telling
I'm tired
you.
of listening to you, ma'am. You said everything you need
Okay,
to
then
say.
let's be
I didn't hear
done.
anything. I'm done too. Mr. Pistakashi, if she's texting you, the easiest thing to do is say everything's fine. It's to text back and try to do it as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
just lie
But
to
you
me
know
and say
what?
everything's fine.
You know what? I'm not getting involved. Y'all have it. If she's texting you
Hurry up. What are you
20,000
fucking
times a
waiting for?
day, you report it as phone harassment. If she's doing whatever, you tell somebody else. I'm done. I'm not entertaining either of your arguments anymore. You get the time with your child, but whether he has to respond with no, if you're not going to have a limit on how many times you can text, I'm not going to limit him on when he has to respond just so that
What's
you're
the point
happy.
of
Just so
ordering?
that, no, ma'am, no. You listen to me. It's my turn. No, no, and no. No, no, and no. I'm going to put no restriction on your text, but I'm not going to put a limit on when he has to answer. It's between parents. It's between civil adults. It's not between, it's not my business. I'm done, Ms. McIntyre. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not entertaining anything from either of you anymore. Stop, Miss McIntyre. I'm not putting a limit on you, but I'm also not putting any limits on him. No, no. It's parents that work it out. I'm not working that part out for you. Y'all work it out. Or hire a lawyer to sue each other for texting on weekends and responding with a certain period of time because, oh my God, the child's dead. No.
Then why
You
ask
need-
me for the period of time if you don't?
I've resolved the visitation. I've resolved the communication. I've resolved the restrictions on illegal substance alcohol. I've resolved giving you ways to deal with each other. I've given you some tools to use. App close, Children's Bill of Rights, visitation hotline. I think I'm done. I think I'm done, Ms. Coates. What else do you need?
Well, I don't remember if we addressed court costs. I don't think that's been addressed yet, Your Honor.
You know, sometimes you got to go to court, whether it's your fault or not, and I'm just going to waive them. Nobody has to pay anything. He doesn't have to pay them. State has already paid them, and they're at a reduced cost. I'm just going to waive them on this case and not make another issue for them to fight about or not fight about or blame each other about. So you can blame me, Ms. Coates. No court costs.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I covered the insurance. I approved all the previous terms, and I covered the visitation as far as I'm concerned. Anything else, Ms. Coates?
No, Your Honor, I think that's everything.
Okay, if either of them are listening, and they may not be, I'm gonna have Ms. Coates draft the order, send
I'm
it to
here.
you. Send it to you by email. So check your emails, maybe starting as early as, well, it's too late. Now you won't have it out by 5. I won't be signing it by 5. I'm cutting it. I'm gonna leave right now.
I am too. Goodbye. Y'all have a good day. Thank you guys.
Check your emails for your order.
I'm
Mr.
still here, Judge.
She's checked out. There's going to be an email. It's going to have the whole term. You get to review it and sign it. It's my order now. I'm rendering it. You can choose to sign it. You can choose not to sign it. I don't care anymore. It's still going to be my order, whether you sign it or not, but you get a chance to review it. And Ms. McIntyre would know that she had the chance to if she were still here, but she's excused herself. So Ms. Coates, anything else? You'll draft
No,
the
Your
order and
Honor.
send it. Okay, thank you. That concludes this hearing. Good luck to both of you, all of you, especially the child. And do better, Mr. Pistakashi. I think you can. Bye. Just
Thank you,
check
Judge.
out. Thank you. That concludes this hearing. I'll stop my recordings. This took 2 hours, 54 minutes, and 20 seconds.
Plus the time of the previous hearing. Oh my gosh. I tried to stay out of the way as much as I could because I wanted you guys to be able to experience the whole kit and caboodle. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, she rage quit, and in a way the judge kind of did too. The judge needs a Calgon take me away moment and a glass of wine. Wow, that was a lot. I told y'all it was wild. I know it took a long time to get there, but like you needed the whole bit. You did, because like she tried to come off so sweet and innocent with her little ducky face poses and, you know, doing that at the camera all the time. You know, she really tried to come off as this, you know, sweet little innocent girl that just wants the best. But every once in a while, you know, she'd throw in just little tidbits of crazy, just little hints here and there. Little facial expressions, you know, like with the whole muffin incident when the judge told her, you know, that she needed to sit down, stop walking around, and not be eating, you know, on court. And she's like, the face she made was just, you know, indignant. And then she's like, well, I'm pregnant. Well, yeah, okay, so what? You're in court still. You know, at the bare minimum, you know, face the camera away or, you know, just turn your camera off. You know, the judge had already conceded to that. It was just, oh, yeah, the maturity level is just not there. You know, it's one thing. It is like, I think you and I had this discussion the other night. It is technically better to have kids while you're younger like that, you know, in your 20s is best for having kids when you have a monogamous established relationship. You know, I'm not saying people should just go run around making babies in their 20s. No. But it is, you know, by the time you get to be like, you know, in your mid to late 30s, that's no longer healthy to be having children at that age. You know, people do it, but still. Yeah, exactly. You know, all I know is it's Texas. That's all I know. I'm sorry. They might. Oh, wait. It's one of 3 cities. It was in the Guadalupe, Comal, or hold on, it'll take me 2 seconds. Because I know this one. Guadalupe, Gonzalez, and Comal docket. So it's one of those 3. Yeah, I mean, I know it's long, but it was worth it. I'm sorry. It was worth it. And to have both hearings, I wish I had the December one. I'm sorry. I can't, I can't do it, but well, yeah, just from that last half hour, even, you know, 2.5 hours was just, you know, like I said, little sprinkles here and there. And I can see why he was so defensive. I'm not saying he's a gem by no means, because I mean, he had aggression issues and he had a lot of learning to do as well. But I can understand how and why he got so defensive, especially when the first opportunity she had to ask him a question, she just attacked him. Okay, if that is how she's going to ask a question when she's, told the judge that she's upset that the lines of communication were closed, and she just wants him open to check on her son, and it's got to be for an emergency, blah blah blah, and then the first opportunity she has to ask a question, the question comes out as, are you gonna be adult enough? No. That's not how you do that. You don't just jump in and attack him. Because that right there told me everything about how that relationship went and why she got blocked in the first place. Oh, you're welcome. I try to give you guys the best. I do my best to give the best. I am planning on coming back tonight. I got to see how long it takes me to edit the one for tonight. And mind you, I am running on an hour and a half of sleep thanks to Discord last night. Showy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Shane and Joey and Sir Philip Heels and Ems and I. We were all in the Discord till 5 a.m. I'm so tired. But we had so much fun. It's their fault. We made a soundbite clip of dang it. And we're working on shirt designs for it and stuff. Oh my gosh. We have so much fun. There were quite a few little catchphrases that came out of that one that I could have clipped too. But I didn't want to keep stopping it and interrupting the stream. I wanted you guys to be able to, get the full effect. I went to bed about 5:30, 6 a.m. And then Ava, of course, was, and yeah, I couldn't get to bed right away after logged off of Discord because it was storming and Ava is terrified of storms. So, I put my BiPAP mask on and I called for her to come. She normally sleeps at my back, right? Not last night. No. She jumped up and I had to actually cradle her like a baby in my arms for an hour before she fell asleep and I fell asleep. And then she woke me up an hour and a half later so that I could take her out potty. I can't wait to go see it. The donut that I didn't know about. The donut I don't know. Yeah, it was fun though. It was fun. All right, guys. Speaking of, exes and kid stuff and all that's my ex-husband, my daughter's father, messaging me. That's, who I was texting at the end there. I had never heard of them until the chat. Ems brought it up and I was like, oh, what? And then I got all kinds of heck for it. But yeah. I'm gonna finish talking about we're trying to figure out with the storms, his car's having troubles, so we're trying to. I'm like, you know what? You can just keep her another day. It's fine. There's no school. I don't mind. Anyways, oh, that does not sound right. That sounds just wrong. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Just a little nappy nap because I'm tired. Y'all broke me. I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming out and hanging out. I had lots and lots of fun, and hopefully we'll have just as much fun tonight. Because tonight, if I can find it, and I'm pretty sure that I have what was discussed, but if I have it, tonight's case will be because Joey told me to. I missed it. I didn't see it. And Joey's like, go to this place. No, because I have Crazy on the line. What can't you believe still? What can't you believe? At this point in our friendship, I am shocked if anything shocks you. I love you, crazy old Rexy. Oh, okay, guys. Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.